You are currently the only person in this conference. Please wait while others join.
All right. Good morning. We'll call the Juvenile Welfare Board meeting to order on Wednesday, October 15th at looks like about 9:07 a.m. And I ask Mr. Bartley if you'll lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, our first order of business this morning is the Infant Safe Sleep Awareness Month proclamation. I'm going to go ahead and read that into the record. Whereas the Juvenile Welfare Board of Pinellas County believes every child deserves to grow up and thrive in a safe environment, and as such has adopted the Preventable Child Deaths Initiative and Sleep Baby Safely campaign. And whereas JWB is committed to promoting the health and well-being of all infants and recognizes that infant sleep-related suffocation remains the leading cause of preventable child deaths for children ages 1 year and younger. And whereas 86 infant sleep-related deaths have occurred in Pinellas County over the past 12 years, which equates to nearly 6 empty kindergarten classrooms. And whereas infant sleep-related suffocation deaths are preventable through increased caregiver education, consistent safe sleep messaging, and addressing environmental risk factors. And whereas the Sleep Baby Safely campaign has reduced infant deaths by more than 50% in Pinellas County since launching in 2018. And whereas Infant Safe Sleep Awareness Month in October ensures increased attention to this effort. And now therefore be it proclaimed by the Juvenile Welfare Board of Pinellas County that October 2025 be recognized as Infant Safe Sleep Awareness Month in Pinellas County, Florida, with everyone encouraged to join efforts to prevent needless child deaths and protect infants from sleep-related suffocation every night and every nap. That would take a motion from the board to accept the proclamation.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. That will sign the proclamation. They want to do a pictures.
Yeah. You want to do pictures now, or do you want to do it later? April, you want these pictures now, or do you want to do it later?
Okay. Later? Okay. All right, moving on to our consent items. Take a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Move to accept.
Motion,
Second.
second. Any discussion?
Yes. Consent agenda includes meeting minutes, or is that,
Yes, it does.
okay, yes, I did have, sorry. A correction, an edit on one of the minutes. Let me pull out my notes real quick. On the September 22nd regular meeting minutes, under section 7, the CEO's search committee, I would just like to see a correction on the record that states that I shared my opinion that SGR included DEI in recruitment presentation, because it's not my opinion, it's actually a matter of fact. It was in their written presentation and it was stated by them during their presentation, so I would just like that correction made. But I move to approve with the correction.
Ms. Chair, for the record, what sentence are you requesting to be corrected from the minutes?
It's in section
You said section CEO search
7.
committee report section.
Yeah, and it says that Ms. Chia shared her opinion that,
So what do you want it
Ms.
to,
Chair.
what do you believe it should read?
we could say stated that
Stated that.
they
Okay.
included.
Yeah.
Ms. Chia stated that. Mm-hmm. Okay, so with that correction to the 9:22 minutes, are there any other corrections on that item? Ms. Chia? No, do you have any
Nope,
others?
that is all.
Okay. So
Any-
with that amendment to the motion.
Okay, so the amendment to the motion is with the correction. Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, next up is our action items. First one is the approve the community council appointments. That will be with Karen Bogus and Kelly Roy.
Good morning, Karen Bogus, Chief Operating Officer. We have 2 appointments to bring to you this morning. I'll be presenting on the first one for North County, and Kelly Roy will be presenting on the second one for South County. So Mr. Thomas Payne, and he is here this morning. Please stand up. Mr. Payne has over 30 years of healthcare leadership experience, and he has successfully guided medical practice operations and patient access strategies across diverse care settings. A graduate of St. Leo University, he currently serves as the service line manager at Evra Health, a federally qualified health center delivering over 70,000 patient visits annually. In his role, he oversees strategic growth and clinical optimization to improve outcomes for patients. He has led initiative services in underserved communities and improved organizational performance. He serves on the Fatherhood Collaborative Committee, and he has led leadership roles including Presidents of Dads Club organization at his child's school, where he led inaugural nun-run fundraiser and raised over $30,000. He also supports nonprofit initiatives focused on men's health, prostate cancer awareness, and breast cancer awareness. And he is a U.S. military veteran, so he has experience in leadership, healthcare strategy, and approaches focused on improving community health. Thank you. Kelly?
Good morning, Kelly Roy, Community Engagement Advocate for South County. I'm here to introduce Carrie Carlisle, who's there. Carrie Carlisle is currently the Baycare Community Health Coordinator for Pinellas County. She is a registered nurse for over 13 years and previously worked in school health and public health roles. Her second child's medical needs motivate her to become a nurse. She's recently spent 4 years serving on the Pinellas County Council for Persons with Disabilities, 3 years serving on her church vestry, and 8 years serving on the St. Pete College of Nursing Advisory Committee, and 2 years serving on Johns Hopkins on All Children's Parent Advisory Board. Ms. Carlisle and her husband have resided in St. Pete for over 24 years, and she will be a great addition to South County. Thank you so much for being here.
Okay, we'll take a motion to accept our new community council members from North and South County.
Make a motion to accept the nominations for North and South County.
Okay, second.
I'll second the motion.
All right, any discussion? No? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, welcome aboard. Okay, next up is adopt our FY26 second quarter and third quarter regular board meeting schedule. And I'll turn it over to our attorney.
Thanks, I get the easy one this morning. So we have to, by law, set our meetings, publicly notice them, put them in the newspaper. And so we have obtained the county commission schedule for next year, and we've proposed all these meeting dates, which do not conflict with the commission schedule. We have put forth dates from January through June, so hopefully that will help everyone with their planning out, the next 9 months. And all I would ask is if there's any, big problems that we need to address, that if we could do that now. Otherwise, I would ask for a motion to approve these, and then Olivia will begin the process of sending out all the invites for the meetings for everybody's calendar.
Any discussion on the dates?
This one, are they written down? I mean, besides having been sent out?
I can hand this.
Yeah, they're in the board packet. You want to look at them? Oh, she's got a copy right there. There you go. Okay, we'll take a motion to accept the dates.
Motion to accept. Sarah
Second.
Muller.
Motion is second. All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on to approve the proposal for personnel policy revisions. Again, our attorney, Ms. Flynn.
Okay, so I will tell you, if Sabi is here, she is the HR director for JWB, and she and her staff went through and updated the personnel policies based on just some operational needs, as well as you recall, back in May, we had made a few tweaks to the policies based on some changes in the law, and now they have just updated some additional policies. The first item is a chart of those policies, and then there is a red line of the personnel policies behind it. So if there's any policy in particular change that anybody wants to ask about, Sabi is here and she can address those specific issues.
Okay, any questions? Chair?
I did have a suggested revision that I spoke with Mike about, and I'm just wondering if that's included.
No, these are just the ones that were posted on the website. So if there's additional,
Colleen, this was the one that we discussed. We were looking at it versus using Title IX information.
I think you guys mean Title VII. Is that under ethics? So.
Yes, under ethics.
Mr. McCurrick advised me, I think it was page 9, thank you, I apologize. Under number 3, it says treat with respect and consideration all persons regardless of race, color, religion, sex, national origin, disability. That is under Title VII, the Florida Civil Rights Act, the ADA. That is the required language by law that entities are required to have to comply with
Florida
Title
law?
VII, Florida Civil Rights Act. Yes, this complies with Florida Civil Rights Act.
Okay.
Yes.
That is what I didn't know, and Mike wasn't sure either.
Yes.
That's why I
So-
asked the question,
Yes.
so we got it.
Florida Statute 440 is the
Okay.
Florida Civil Rights Act, and all those things are listed in there.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Any other questions? Take a motion to approve. Second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on to to approve the recommended revisions to the budget policies.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning. In item 4D in your materials, this is approval, as the Chair mentioned, for revisions to board policies. The proposed changes to the board policy include an evolutionary thing that we do all year long, is we try to revise and update as we need to. And in the second paragraph there, you can see that we are changing just titles that have changed, where they've already been changed. So the policy needs to be updated to reflect those changes. And then there's a new section in the policy that's being proposed to you, and it's for program funding for for-profit entities. And right now we have one. It's in our mental health. It's with a physician's office practice. And as we look going forward for flexibility, it didn't exactly fit the mix of the non-for-profit entities. So this proposed section will bring some clarity to that. Bria, if you can go down to page 10, please, just to kind of display it there. Right there. Go up, perfect. So as you can see there, it's the intent of the section not only to continue on with section 3, and that's a prior section in the policy, but it also recognizes that certain operational or structural differences inherent to nonprofit entities may require exceptions. This policy gives the CEO to make some of those exceptions. Substantively speaking, a lot of the policies here in, for instance, number A, that's already in the policy in that section 3. And I'm talking about 3(2)A there on your screen. And in B, that's already in policy 2. So really no changes there. We're just reiterating that for the for-profit section. And then number C, we added, or actually deleted, nonprofit in the first sentence there. It talks about audit standards to include applicable government general auditing standards instead of nonprofit standards or nonprofit entity standards. So that just updates it, kind of gets it to the for-profit entities. And then in D there, if you can see, there's a red there, and I left that there intentionally. We added or key executives because a physician practice may not have a board, but they have key executives. And if a board's in place, obviously, then we would go through the training and all that type thing with them. But in a practice, they usually don't have that. And then in the last bullet point there in D, it also the same thing. We added or the other key executives. And then finally in 3 at the bottom there, Florida sales tax, obviously that is an ineligible expense with us being a government entity. So substantively, this gives flexibility. It provides a distinction between the nonprofits and the for-profits that JWB may want to expand relationships with. It doesn't add a whole lot to the policy other than it just brings it out for looking at and dealing with a for-profit entity. Questions?
I don't have questions on that, but I have a broader question. I noticed when I was reading through the whole policy that this is the policy that governs the CEO authorization limit. And I know at our last meeting, Mr. Ongst had brought up maybe having the board review that limit. He's not here today, but I just wondered, since we're looking
Ms.
at
Chair,
the edits and revisions.
If I can just add to you, that actually, if you look at the agenda, it's on the agenda as a discussion item for you to decide
perfect.
what you need to do next.
Okay, so my question is, yeah, if we approve this, we can make edits to this at any
Absolutely.
time in future, like it doesn't,
Yeah, and-
it's not like a one and done annual review. Okay.
No, it's what it does is, clearly what it's doing is, as Robbie identified, it's adding flexibility to work with the for-profit organizations, and specifically in the mental health and medical area. Unfortunately, we don't have enough non-for-profits that can fill the gap, specifically in North County. So I would expect that there's going to be more of these types of programs. Unfortunately, with growing pains, going through this with this first organization, it probably took almost 6 months longer to get the contract through because we were trying to fit a circle in a square box, right? So that's all this is doing, is allowing us to have some flexibility. It doesn't impact the how much funds that the board will decide whether a CEO can have or not have authority for. It just clearly says, let's give some flexibility. And as I think you've all known so far, from my perspective, I've brought up everything that we've spent or anything that we were spending and bring it back to the board for clarity and for your understanding.
Sure, thanks. I just wanted to make sure, I have no objection to the edited language there. I just wanted to make sure that that process was in there, we weren't missing something, so, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll take a motion to approve. All right, motion, second. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye? Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on next, Bobby, you're up again.
Thank you, sir. So this is item D, and this and the next two items are very similar. These are carry forwards from the capital RFA, and that is requests for applications. These are the one-time capital things that JWB will do with agencies and through a public solicitation. Actually, we're embarking upon the FY26 process now. These projects were approved in FY25. This one particularly for CASA Community Action Stops Abuse, Emergency Shelter, and this was for a waterproofing project. And the project is very much underway, but they have to get permittings and stuff. It was a little more invasive than what they thought to peel back the exterior of the building to get into and figure out what needs to be done to effectuate the project appropriately. So we're asking to carry forward, due to permitting issues and some project delays, which are very common, $53,794 into FY26, and that's what this action item is for. Questions on that?
Okay. Any questions for Robbie? Take a motion to accept. A second? Second, all in favor, or any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on, Robbie, you're up one more time here.
Thank you. The next item, item F, is for another capital RFA initiative. This was for an air conditioning project, and the delays were due to some additional permitting issues that are going on. The project is very much underway. We expect it to be completed sooner than later in FY26. And it would be to carry over $60,730 from the FY25 budget into the FY26 budget. Any questions there?
Any questions for Robbie? Yeah, turn your mic on.
Robbie, you said we're currently having some permitting issues?
What issues? Permitting issues, yes, with
So is there a delay in?
Yeah, it's.
Okay.
Yeah, as you're aware, for sure.
For sure.
You have to, work through, when you're making those kinds of more significant improvements to a structure, you have to go through the permitting process. I think there's a lot of things going on right now with all the municipalities.
For sure.
For that. So those are some of the delays. Some of it you have to go back and you find that there are decking problems or other things when you pull out an O system and put it back. So they have to figure out all that type of thing too. Very common to doing a project like this.
I can tell you that the city of St. Petersburg is having some serious permitting. If you want to get something in there,
really
you're
are.
looking at sometimes 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
That's why I was wondering how long we've been waiting. I was just curious where we were in that.
Right. I'm not for sure how long the wait is. I do know that there was some design. When you're pulling back, it's not just a plug and play. You have to redesign the new system. And then once you get those design finalized, stamped by an engineer, then you go to, the
Got it.
city
So we
and get
haven't
all that.
applied yet.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can add from just personal experience, it took us over 2 years to get
No.
for the permitting. Probably you
I'm-
know it better than anybody, so we should.
I'm greatly aware. I was just curious if we'd actually applied yet. That's why I was asking. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Robbie? Take a motion to accept.
Motion to accept.
Motion.
A second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, next up on our agenda is approve the consolidation of Early Learning Coalition School Readiness Plus and School Readiness with Karen Bogus.
Good morning again. I'm going to read the recommended action first. So approve fiscal year 26 budget amendment of $1,303,093 from Early Learning Coalition of Pinellas County School Readiness Plus program to the Early Learning Coalition of Pinellas County for the School Readiness Match program. To start off with, this is a budget neutral request that we are making. We have three contracts actually with Early Learning Coalition, but today I'm talking about these two, School Readiness Match as well as School Readiness Plus. Both provide access for children to early learning care and after-school care. The School Readiness Match we have is $1 million. The School Readiness Plus is a little over, it's 1.3 million. Over the last, I would say, 5 years, one year after another, we've come to this board to move dollars from one contract to the other, depending on what's happening in the community. And, always keeping in mind that we want the most access for these children to get into care, for families to be able to work and stabilize their home situations. So this request is consolidating those two contracts, which allows for them to have a little bit more flexibility to move the dollars during the year as the situation in our community changes. And what we want to ensure is that no child is ever disenrolled in either of these programs. So the eligibility criteria for both programs will remain the same with this. Any questions?
Any questions for Karen? Seeing no, take a motion to accept.
Motion to accept.
Motion and a second.
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor, aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, next up, Karen, our Chief
again.
Operating Officer, you're up next again.
Yes, again. And once again, I'll read the recommended action. This is another action item that's consolidating two contracts. Approve fiscal year 26 budget amendment for $93,871 from Our Club Childcare, Our Community Pride Health Early Learning Program contract to Our Club Childcare, Our Community Pride at Gateway. So what this is that our club, we have 5 early learning centers that we fund with our club, 2 of them that were 1.5 miles apart from each other. They were both not at capacity, also having challenges hiring with staffing. So our club has consolidated these 2 programs to one center, Gateway, and this allows for one of the centers to be fully staffed and for them to get to capacity. With this request, this is a cost savings for JWB of about a little over $278,000, but we are requesting $93,000, a little over $93,000 for them to maintain their staff with benefits that they are expecting a 30% to 50% increase this year. So that is this request. Any questions?
When I was reading the request, I thought I saw something where it was included in the request was to increase for insurance. Is that what you were talking about with the benefits,
the
et
health
cetera?
benefits.
Okay. And I had spoken with Mike about this item as well, and it just jumped out at me because I've heard from other providers that that's a concern across the board with all of our providers, that their costs might significantly increase as well. And I just wanted to make sure that, if other providers were putting requests in, that was also being, reviewed for potential approval as well. And he said, yes, that was the case.
It is. We're looking at them all. Also look at this one with the consolidation. There's actually a savings that comes back to us. So, but we are looking at every one of them. You're right. Everybody's going to be impacted by this going forward.
So that was all. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, take a motion to accept.
Motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving on to our next one is the approved Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Neighborhood Family Center, DBA Business Clearwater Neighborhood Family Center, termination of contract with Karen Bulges, our Chief Operating Officer, and Robbie Stivers, our Chief Financial Officer.
So yes, this item has two actions in it. I will read both actions and then go into the background. The first piece of this is to approve the recommendation to terminate the contract with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Neighborhood Family Center that is doing business as Clearwater Neighborhood Family Center by December 31st, 2025. The second action of this is to authorize JWB interim CEO Mike McCurrick to contract up to $620,317 with the City of Clearwater and Maddie Williams Neighborhood Family Center at his discretion without requiring further approval to continue after-school, summer, and family support programming in this community. The Clearwater Neighborhood Family Center at North Greenwood Recreation Center primarily serves zip code 33755 and the surrounding area. And they provide both after-school, summer programming, as well as family support services. They have a total of 12 positions with an allocation of over $827,000. And this organization, there are a few things that are happening currently. One is that there is board governance instability and changes as recently as of August to the present. There's leadership instability and challenges, conflict between the board as well as the CNFC leadership, financial monitoring findings, and just to remind the board, this agency was on a corrective action and a performance improvement plan from 2022 to 2024. They successfully completed that. However, as we see a year and a half later, they are back in similar issues and challenges. And so our goal when this happens is to do, to be good fiduciary of the dollars and accountable to the dollars, as well as ensuring continuation of services to a community that has great need. And so through our recommendations today, we are also looking at a transition plan, working with the City of Clearwater. North Greenwood, the CNFC is located at the North Greenwood Recreation Site with the City of Clearwater. City of Clearwater, we contract with currently to provide after-school and summer programming. At that site, they provide for middle school students. CNFC provides for elementary students. So in this case, we would be asking them to expand their programming to serve the elementary students. There are 35 currently. In addition to that, the family support, Maddie Williams, our Neighborhood Family Center, who's also in good standing with us. They provide family support throughout Safety Harbor, Oldsmar, and parts of Clearwater. So we would be asking them to provide those services out of the North Greenwood and surrounding areas.
Just one, clarify if I'm incorrect, but in June of this past year, the entire board at the NFC resigned, and we were not made aware of that.
Correct. So they've been out of contract compliance on a few issues. One of them being if there is a board changes for any of our organizations, it's part of their general conditions of their contract. They have to notify us within 30 days of any changes. So as of late June, early July, they had a whole board turnover. And they have had board changes since then continuously until the present. In addition to that, we had a financial monitoring visit in May, which I know Robbie can speak to in depth, where there was multiple findings. Again, going back to some of the similar issues that were in place back in 2002 to 2024. Do you want to speak to that?
Thank you, Karen. And as she mentioned, this has been an evolutionary thing. It's been going on since 2022, whether it's corrective action plans, whether it's performance improvement plans, whether it's just oversight of trying to help govern. I'm losing confidence that the public funds that are being expended or have the proper oversight that they need. There are conflicts of interest, policies and disclosures that haven't been signed. There's been finding on their audits. This is an $827,000 budget that was approved for FY26. That's 93% of their funding. With the board instability and just recent developments that we were on a call yesterday about some expenditures that may have occurred after being directed not to incur those, which is another, I think, concern of mine for sure. So I do support the recommendation. I think that this has been vetted for a long period of time. I think at this point that fiduciarily, I need to bring this to this body's attention along with Karen and make you aware. And we have a way to focus where our focus should be on the children and the families with these other entities that are willing to step up and continue to provide these services.
Just a little added information, as you, I think as all board members will recall, I've probably had at least 4 to 5 conversations with you concerning these issues. No action has really been taken. There's been lots of discussions about a concern about Mr. Jones, but as far as we know, there's been no action taken by the board. During that period of time, we requested to ensure that we understood everything was going on. We requested for board minutes from 2022 to today. We received less than half of those, so I'm not sure if there were any board minutes or not. And then just as recently as yesterday, we found out about some additional spending that we asked not to be done. All of which, as I think I've brought to the board over the past few months, that my concern is that we spend way too much time once we put corrective actions into place. We have in the past spent years, in essence, to allow the funding to continue on while we're asking for actions. I've asked the leadership team to reduce that time frame, to really look at it much more closely, and it could be a quarter or 2 at most before we would before we take action. I don't think it should be any longer than that. I'm concerned about taxpayer dollars being misspent. And that's led to, this one has been going for years, so it's not new. It just has really raised its head in these last few months.
Any questions?
I do. So am I correct to assume from summing everything up that we basically have not been provided with any adequate documentation to justify the whereabouts of those funds and what they were spent on? Would I be accurate in saying that?
We've gotten some documentation. One example is board minutes are sporadic at best with approvals to sign contracts and that type of thing. We have identified that there are some contracts that have been signed that hasn't gone to the board, or there's no documentation that they went there, such as minutes.
So we don't know, though, where those monies are being used, or who's getting them, and we don't know.
Well, we do. We can follow the dollars, where they go and who they went to and stuff. And when we circle back to the board or talk to the leadership there, the executive director who's no longer there, there's no recollection of it. So it's kind of a black hole. So it's he said, she said kind of thing, right. Trying to figure that out. To the best of my knowledge, there hasn't been any appropriation of funds, but there's certainly, it's worthy of looking into that we continue to do that. Remember that this organization's on a reimbursement basis, so when we have these come in, these expense reimbursements, largely they are associated with salaries, and that's the bulk of it. So that's easily verified relative to other contracts and those type things, and we don't have to reimburse if it's not compliant with the contract. That's what we have a program finance unit about that vets those every month in every invoice that comes through for reimbursement. Now, if they want to unilaterally do things and spend money, that's on their own volition. But when it comes through, we're not obligated to pay that, nor do we.
So like if they pay higher rates of pay to certain people and they do their own raises, and then they notify us, but we don't know when it's being done until after it's done.
It's usually after the fact. The other thing to be aware of is this organization will offer advances. And in this case, the advance was $134,000, I believe. And what that is just operating capital that we give, $134,309. And the money can be used largely just to support and enhance operation. Per the contract amendment that we do in order to issue those funds, if the program is no longer funded for whatever reason, then that money has to be repaid to JWB. We've been able to reduce that by about $33,000 by withholding some reimbursements from, we did not withhold reimbursements last time. There were a few that we didn't pay, but with the advance, we took that from the cash position of the organization, just a third of it. There may be an opportunity to do here because we see that solvency may be a problem going forward, especially if there's unauthorized spending happen, and we want to try to make JWB whole as quick as possible. We'll revisit that. There should be reimbursements coming through today, actually, for this past month that we'll be vetting extensively.
And just understand, I think as Robbie had mentioned earlier, we fund 93% of this organization. So those are our funds.
Well, I'm very uncomfortable with a situation where we can't have an accounting of the word, this money's used for this, and that's their obligation to do that, and they failed to do it, to provide the documents. They don't even have minutes of their meetings if they have, do they, or anything that we can go back and look and see what was discussed?
Since 2022, it's not many.
I'm not barking at you all, Robbie. I just, you know.
And that's what's brought this to the table.
I don't even know why we should even have any more discussion. It should be right now, we're done. We're not gonna give them any money. And anybody that doesn't comply with the requirements that we impose upon them, that, we do all these, we're gonna give you another break, we're gonna give you another break, and it does help sometimes. But as soon as they don't comply and don't respond to our instructions to bring this up and so we can see where the money's going and what it's used for, then I think we're done. They'll start getting that out to us, I bet you, if that is the case. But I think they've already, trains left the station on this one. That's my personal opinion. I don't feel like I'm watching when I'm watching for money for the people in the community.
I completely agree with you, and if you wanted to make a motion to that, I would support it.
Before your motion, I just have one quick question. You said that since 2022, and has this been a continuous 3 years, or was there a break in noncompliance?
So they were on a corrective action and a PIP. They went up and down on this from 2022 to 2024. So from I believe it was March of 2024 until recently, they were not on a corrective action. But the same issues have now popped up again that were in place back then. So yeah, we did go through a time period where they were in compliance.
Any other questions?
On the transition plan, when would that start? Would that be effective immediately on the termination? And would we anticipate the funds being redistributed to make sure those kids are served?
We've had initial conversations with both Clearwater and with Maddie Williams. We need for your action to move forward with those discussions. But with that, we're looking at a transition plan that would completely be completed by January of 2025 or 2026. We would expect that based on your approval, Clearwater will approve it at their November meeting and then begin to make the transition. Maddie Williams is, I believe, in the same position.
And I would just share, I mean, we have 35 children that are attending after-school programming there. We have 10 families receiving family support currently. And our concern always in terms of this is having a transition for them that, I mean, this is a disruption, but don't get me wrong, but that we make this as seamless as possible for them. And the city of Clearwater does need time to be able to get approval from their council so that they can add positions to their budget to be able to put out notifications. And I think it's important because I know there's currently some staff in the room from Clearwater Neighborhood Family Center. Both, I know Maddie Williams and City of Clearwater is going to open up their application process to the current staff at CNFC and give them an opportunity to apply for the positions.
I want to make sure that that's clear. Both Clearwater and Maddie Williams have we've had the discussion. If there's a need, I'm not so sure about Maddie Williams. That will be a separate discussion. But with Clearwater, they're open to have open discussions for the additional employees with the employees that are currently operating. But they would have to go through the Clearwater process.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Do both Clearwater and Maddie Williams have the capacity to take on these programs?
The answer to that is yes. In fact, both have identified that they like to do more.
Thank you.
Question, Ms. Chia?
Yeah, just a statement rather, but a lot of the things that are being discussed here today, I just wanted to let folks know I did a big deep dive with Mike on this, because when we're looking at pulling funding from a program that's basically gonna impact the program to the point where it's not going to exist anymore, I have great concerns. And I also have great concerns with where is that money going? Because in that type of a scenario, there's winners and losers from the perspective of JWB funding, right? And so we did have a lot of discussion on that. I also had concerns about approving the flexibility for the CEO to use those funds for the transition period, and we discussed that at length as well. And I feel like the compliance on this to other board members' positions has been very generous from my perspective and my profession. I think we've given them a lot of chances and tried to be very understanding to keep this organization afloat. And so for all those reasons, I think this is definitely the right move to make from my perspective.
Robbie, can you just explain the $600,000+ are there? It's broken up into percentage. What's the percentage of what we would start with? It's not all $600,000 all at once. It's like 1/19, if I'm correct.
Yeah, it's 75% to give you, because, you know, this is a new fiscal year, and the other entities won't take over until, hopefully, subject to all the approvals in January, around January the 1st. So that would be the carryover for these budgets to these other entities if all the approvals line up and stuff. So it's 75% of the $827,000 total budget.
Thank you. Yeah, so, I mean, for all those reasons, I move to approve this request, but with saddened heart.
Okay, so we have a motion.
Second.
Someone made a motion for that.
I thought.
Ms. Chia made a motion, and just for clarification, that's to approve the termination of the Dr. Martin Luther King Neighborhood Family Center effective December 31, 2025.
But the only question I had, you can clarify this for me. I think Melissa started with a motion, and then Judge asked her to hold off on it until she had her question. That's the only one I'm trying to bring up. So I don't want to.
I was just bouncing off of what Bruce had said, and if he wanted to make a motion, I would support it.
Okay. I just want to make sure the motion flows the way it was initially started.
Okay, so we have a motion from Ms. Chia, currently on the board, on the table.
I still have a problem, though. We have raises that were given to these people without going through the proper channels, which was to notify us. So now they see the end is here, and they've just jacked up their salaries. How do we know we don't have that situation?
Well, this is on a reimbursement basis, and we always compare that to the budget they submitted for those positions. So we know what we have agreed and this board's approved in order to pay for those positions. If there's changes to that as it comes through, that's when we get back to rejecting the request for that reimbursement. So we have no obligation to pay. Now, how do they pay that? Well, they'll go back to the cash that they have on hand, which is largely and very likely funded through the advance that we did. So it's still JWB funds. We're cutting it off. We've worked with the board chair to make sure that they have no more access to the checking accounts, deposit accounts, and to the payroll system to go in and make those changes. And we'll continue to monitor that. It is a concern, yeah, because there was a specific email that I gave myself to them to say, we're not doing these things. And some of this moved forward anyway, allegedly. We just found out about this late last night, And we believe that that has occurred and have good reason to believe that.
I have to commend both Robbie and Karen for staying personally on top of this. It wasn't just handed off to their staff. So they've stayed very closely in the beginning, and they've been part of the discussions I've been having with Clearwater and Maddie Williams as well, to ensure that we're making the correct transition, have it in line so that you can have a vote to decide which direction to go into. So again, I commend the two of them for the hard work that they've done and for doing their best to control the funds that are already allocated.
One more thing, I'll shut up. I agree with Ms. Chia in that I hate to see if it's a functioning, working situation these kids are experiencing now, let it ride to the end of the year with what supervision we can give it. But is it operating with this turmoil within the organization? Do we have a full benefit going to the children, or is there too much other side stuff? I mean, it appears they don't even have a structural area set up where they can even run the business. I mean,
what we know and our staff have been out there doing program monitoring throughout the year is that the out-of-school time program is occurring. And what I would say is both Robbie and I will be out there after this board meeting to meet with the staff on site there and to talk about this transition that's occurring, and also continue to monitor regularly what's happening.
Robbie and Karen and I have had this discussion about the potential of having staff spending more time there to ensure during this period of time to ensure that the proper transition is happening. As Karen just said, and Robbie and Karen are going out after this meeting to review, see where things are at, and make sure that where the processes are being followed through. And I will immediately, upon your approval, get together with Clearwater and Maddie Williams to move as quickly as we possibly can.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Chia. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, okay. Any public comments?
Yes, we do have public comments on this action item, so before you vote, we will need to call the comments. So the first person is Shantala Davis. And just so everyone who's filled out a card knows, you get up to 3 minutes to make a public comment. And the board will listen to your public comment. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Shantala Davis. I am a native of the Greenwood area, been there for 56 years, but I also am a founder and director of A Mother's Arms. So I have a nonprofit in the North Greenwood area as well. But I'm not here for that. I am finding out a lot of different information since I've been sitting here listening, and it is disheartening about what's taking place. I am in agreement with what you are doing. I am here speaking on behalf of the staff, though. I mean, under that leadership, I myself don't know how it went that long that it's just now getting dug into. I'm in agreement too with that it should have been, this information should have been found out. This should have been done, researched, and stopped before it got this far and got into years of whatever's happening behind the scenes. But that's exactly where it's happening at, behind the scenes. The staff that's there has nothing to do with it. That money was not under their guidance, their leadership. It's a leadership responsibility. My granddaughters and other children that I know from the neighborhood that attend there love the staff that's there. You're going to rip relationships. You're going to take away the trust that they have built with these children. One of the staff members goes to the school, make sure the children are staying on top of their grades. She loves attending there. She wants to go there on the weekends and everything else. They build up a rapport with the families, the children, and everything else. Taking that staff away is going to build a wall up with these children, because some of these children distrust outsiders. They have a relationship. We have a relationship with them. They should not be punished for what this, I won't even call them a leader, whoever had their hands in this, but they should have been stopped so it didn't do this to these children and to these workers.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Shakita Bellamy. Oh. Okay, let's call the next person, Morgan Morris.
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
Good.
My name is Morgan Morris, and I am the current program manager at the Clearwater Neighborhood Family Center. I started with CNFC in 2021. At the end of 2024, I became the child care administrator, and now I have been granted the opportunity to become the new program manager. I want to start off by saying how heartbreaking this is for our team, for our new leaders, for our parents, for our supporters, our community partners to even be here, to have to advocate for something to me that I feel like is so obvious. And that is for our community to be able to be served by the people who love it the most. We are not your enemies. We were blindsided just like you guys. We had nothing to do with the misuse of funds. We are leaders. We love our community. We love what we do. We show up and we show out every single day. And all you have to do is go in the room and see one staff walk in and see how those kids react. I'm just having a hard time wrapping my head around this because I feel like we're getting punished for something we had nothing to do with. And that is the reality of this situation. No matter how you look at it, we're upset too. You guys are upset. We're frustrated as well. And that's just what that is. I did my research and I was reading your mission statement. And your mission statement says, we invest in partnerships, innovation, and advocacy to strengthen Pinellas County children and families. My question is, how can we talk about strengthening families while breaking up the very team that helped rebuild them? How? Like I said, we are not your enemies. When things started to fall apart, we were the ones who stepped in to build it from the ground up. When the pieces started falling, we were the ones to put them back together. This new leadership team is the foundation that we should have been on this entire time. We had nothing to do with previous leadership. By all means, please hold the past accountable how you guys see fit. Please. But do not punish the present. We had nothing to do with that. We are leaders. Matter of fact, all of the things that you see us do, the STEM Carnival, boys mentoring, youth mentoring, all of that are staff-led activities, things that we are passionate about. They just come in, hey, we should do a sneaker ball for the youth. We do it. Because we've built a team built on that foundation, teamwork, love, family, community. We have parents in here that are highly upset at the decision that you guys are trying to make right now. I understand, it's to my understanding that you guys want to move forward with the Maddie Williams and we could reapply to our jobs, but that's not promising. And it's unethical, if you ask me, to even do something like that.
Your 3 minutes is up.
Okay, but thank you. I really hope you guys understand where I'm coming from. And again, we're not your enemies.
Thank you. The next card is Frances Druding from the Clearwater Neighborhood Family Board Center.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to address you as the treasurer and a board member of the CNFC. We acknowledge that oversight issues occurred under previous leadership and take responsibility for not having been, more informed at the time. Unfortunately, much of the communication and decision-making between the former board chair, Lisa Harris, and JWB was never shared with the full board. Ms. Harris excluded board members from critical discussions regarding JWB's concern and its intent to defund or replace CNFC services. I personally learned of this only October 8th when our ED informed me that JWB had decided to remove CNFC and transition services to another agency. Because the board was unaware of these developments, we were unable to respond or implement corrective measures. To date, Ms. Harris has not provided any records or correspondence related to her communications with JWB, leaving the board without key information needed to fulfill its fiduciary duties. It is important to note that per our bylaws, Ms. Harris's term as board chair ended on September 30th, 2025. And since then, a new board and president have been appointed to lead CNFC with a renewed focus on transparency, accountability, and community service. We respectfully request a probationary period to demonstrate our ability to meet JWB's guidelines, operate in full compliance, and rebuild trust. We believe this approach offers a fair opportunity for CNFC's new leadership to show our commitment to integrity and improvement before a final decision is made regarding closure. Any questions?
One comment. If there was a change made in September with your board chair, we weren't informed. We didn't know anything about it. So it just continues the same process.
I completely understand.
And believe us, there's not anyone, I think, sitting at this table that their hearts aren't breaking because of the issues that have come about.
Agreed.
But at the same token, we're asking the board to consider this move to ensure that taxpayer dollars are spent wisely and that we really meet the needs. And during that process of negotiations and early discussions with both, it was clear from our point that we are asking both organizations to look at the current employees, because we're not blaming any employees at all, but we want them to look at the current employees and bring them, and hopefully be able to bring as many as possible into the program.
I understand, and I agree. There has been a lot of oversight. First and foremost, Ms. Harris does not have a lot of board experience, and that came very strategically done by the former executive director. The people that sat there had no idea how to run a board or even how to carry it out. Are there minutes? Yes, there are minutes. She just doesn't know how to get to them, and that's the real challenge. Thank you.
The next speaker is Crystal Ashley.
Good morning. Like she said, my name is Crystal Ashley. I am a parent at CNFC, and I went to them during COVID. My kids were at Countryside Christian, and they used to take my kids to school, pick them up. Well, when COVID happened, everything shut down. So the next school year, I was at a loss. What am I going to do? I retired last November from the Internal Revenue Service as a criminal investigator. My job was very demanding. They didn't care if I had kids, so I had to find a way. CNFC set up a table at my kids' school, which is Curtis Fundamental, and I bypassed the table. But something told me to go back. I went back, and I got signed up with them, and my kids are very introverted. And they were very introverted and lacked confidence. But once I signed them up, the staff has been amazing. I had no idea what was going on. And the staff has been amazing. My kids' confidence has, I don't recognize them sometimes, So this is gonna hurt. The gentleman explained, and I know it was a different subject, but every child deserves to grow up in a safe environment. this is safe for my kids. And I am so sorry that this all happened, but like the young lady said just now, I please, if I can do anything with funding, and we can get the community to do anything with funding, please, please, please do not get rid of this program. If it was on the part of the last management, that should have been dealt with sooner than this. And I'm not placing blame on anyone. It's just the totality of the circumstances. It's come to a head, and this is where it's at. But I would please, 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 please do not end this program. Please, please. And also I've helped them. I volunteer and I do a literacy program. It's something like a summer bridge program. I just started it this past summer. And these kids, the staff they were amazing with helping out with the kids with that program. And please do not end this program. These kids need somewhere to go. The bridge program, the summer bridge program for the Pinellas County, it only deals with the smaller, that's my time. Thank you so much.
Jessica Pryor.
Hello, my name is Jessica Pryor. I've been a parent for 2 years at Clearwater Neighborhood Family Center. So I have been listening to what everything has been going on by sitting here. I heard someone says, is there structure? Yes, there's structure when you come in. When you see the staff, they have a place to play, they have a place to do arts and crafts, they bring different activities. I remember they used to have not Boys and Girls Scouts, but Girl Scouts. Now they're teaching the girls how to braid on Wednesdays. They're doing STEM activities, but there is structure. And the staff that we have now, my daughter just grown to have a relationship with all of them. And she was not introverted, but she was very clingy to me. So when she was in kindergarten, I was kind of afraid, like, if she's clingy to me, I don't want to know if she's going to be clingy to them. But this year, she's grown out of that. She's very independent. She just flourished. She knows everybody. She has a relationship with everyone, just like the other kids. This staff that we have, I don't know what happened in the past. I'm just learning, just like the rest of us, by sitting here and listening to it. It is very heartbreaking, whoever was in position or in leadership. But the staff now that I know, that I'm aware of in the past 2 years, has been awesome and phenomenal to all of us, to all the parents, to all the kids. So I don't know I don't know if y'all decisions I seem like it's made up. But if you can at least give this new staff that we have now until the end of the school year and see what they can do, that'd be awesome. I don't know if that's a plan or what you guys think it's supposed to be, but maybe that's gonna be an option. I'm not sure, but that's it. That's all I have to say.
The next speaker is Amber Nunez.
I'm not a public speaker, so forgive me. I have been a parent with CNFC for 6 years. When you become a parent, everyone tells you it takes a village, but it's really important to remember that the village is not the building, it's not the program, and it's not the paperwork. It is solely the people. We began attending the Clearwater Neighborhood Family Center 6 years ago after a very traumatic reset in me and my children's lives. Each staff member at the center has played a pivotal role in my children's development. The staff we have now could not be a better group of women. A safe space of love, trust, growth, and support that you cannot just find anywhere. The value and consistency the staff of the center provide It means that my children know what to expect and that they're safe and supported every single day. They learn new interpersonal skills, they get to try new things, and they have help with homework that grow as individuals and as part of the community. The staff has taught my children social and emotional intelligence. As Miss Brianna wipes away my daughter's tears, she teaches her it's okay to cry, that it's important to identify and acknowledge our feelings, and a safe way to work through them. The staff has also taught my children confidence in themselves and who they are as people. Miss Kyla teaches my daughter to love who she is, to be her authentic self without apology, and be confident in her place in the world. The staff has taught my children to be kind and to love others, not despite of their differences, but because of them. Miss Morgan and the entire staff has been instrumental in my children's development. Losing the staff we have grown to love and support means that my children lose that love and support, that they have to learn to start over, find a new village, and rebuild relationships that can truly never be replicated. I learned a lot just sitting here listening to the board meeting. And I asked that, as the treasurer stated, if you could give a probationary period for the new leadership to prove that they can do this, that they're willing and able to work with integrity and transparency. That would go a long way for us as parents, for you guys as the JWB board, and for the community to know that this center is still available and that they're willing to work on the issues that they have. Thank you.
Kyla Faye. Okay, let's move on to Elijah McGill. Oh, there she is. Sorry.
I'm Kyla Faye. I worked for CNFC for 4 years since 2021. And literally, the last jobs I've had have been with kids, but this time was a little different. It was more family-oriented. Me and the staff became family. The kids became my kids, and the parents became my sisters and brothers. They helped me just as much as I helped them. What has happened, I'm shocked. If y'all was seeing my face back there while y'all was reading everything, I was like, what in the world? But once again, we didn't know. We didn't know anything. Even when he was taken out or whatever was going on, we didn't know anything. We are just as clueless. We're in the back with the kids. We're taking care of the kids. We're doing our job. And that's all we ask to do. That's all I got.
Elijah McGill.
Hello. I'm coming as a father, parent. My children have been a part of the CNFC for some time now, and so I just want to take a few moments. Before I start, I'll say this. You guys have always exercised good judgment time and time again where it comes to investing in programs to deliver a measurable impact. So hats off to you all. I've been a part of several programs that you guys have run. You guys make good investments. And I want to say this to you, that making an investment in the CNFC is not any different than those. John Maxwell in the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership has a law called the law of the lid. With the lid, it causes an impact on the growth. When the lid is removed, then the growth can proceed. And I feel like that's what we're experiencing today. I feel like the lid was causing the issue. Most of these people that you see, everybody that you've seen come up here, they're affected strongly about this. Our kids, our community is affected. I've been a part of the North Greenwood community for as long as I've lived. And the CNFC is one of the programs that have come through that have actually made a difference in our community. I noticed that you guys mentioned the Mattie Williams program and these things. The problem with that is that Mattie Williams is 20 miles away from the CNFC where it is. So the kids in our program, I've met some of those kids who haven't ever been out of the city of Clearwater, let alone going to the Mattie Williams Center. It's gonna not be a suitable transition for what we're trying to do. And I mean, while Mattie Williams is a good program, it's not gonna benefit the people that are still at Bay. And so I'll say this, we witnessed this summers and summer programs. If you don't have little children, you won't understand. $250 to $500 a week is what it costs. When you go to the CNFC, there's affordable summer programs that we can get our kids into. They're structured and they teach our kids. I mean, there's so many different things we can talk about. But I want to say, you can look at the numbers in the North Greenwood community, and I attribute some of the decrease in youth violence to the CNFC. I attribute it to the Juvenile Welfare Board making the investment into the CNFC. We've benefited from this tremendously. Please don't allow the actions of mere individuals, the lid, to be a stop on what is actually happening. This is a good investment. You guys have put your money where you should have. And the problem is, I think if anything should happen, that you guys should just do, a little bit, more pressure, like you said, probationary period, jump on and figure out what's going on at the top of the thing, because the people at the bottom are working diligently. I've worked alongside them. I've seen them. Seen them do multiple things in this. Every parent that walks through the doors, every child who leaves with a little bit more confidence, every family that finds support when life gets tough, they've all proof that the decision to stand behind the CNFC is the right one. So today I would just ask you to take your consideration and everything that we've said, and please just rethink this for just one moment, because it'll be a benefit for us. Yes. Right now, I've been told that Malika McCluster has now taken the position over where the other person was kicked out, right? So, and Malika McCluster is someone I've known since I was young. Malika McCluster is noble. She's transparent. She's a woman of God. She's God-fearing. She's been running the underbelly of the program to make it be this successful for this long. She's been in every kid that goes to that center, every parent that goes to that center has interacted with Malika McCluster. She's not the same as what we've experienced before. I know her, I'll vouch for her. Anybody that knows me, they know my track record is here. I've been an activist in the city. I've been a pastor for years. I've had youth programs myself. And I'll stand here and say that Malika McCluster is not the prior leadership. She is what we need to progress and to go forward. That's the honest to God truth. Yes. Mr. Jones is an actor. You can go on IMDb. He just acted in a role with Vince Vaughn. He's on a TV show right now, so you can see Mr. Terry. He's a very cunning individual, right? I'll say that. He at face value, everything is what we all have showed you. He will present this the same way. I don't know the details of what happened with Mr. Terry. I've worked with him multiple times. I've seen Mr. Terry multiple times. But I will say that Terry's an actor. And if this was going on and what was being presented to us was, what we, in the heart that you felt people come up here with, that's what we've been presented with. If this was going on, then it seemed like a role. As far as turmoil within the organization, if there's any turmoil, it's now, because we don't know what's going on. The transition is outrageous to us. We have a working program. We have kids showing up. We got people getting taken care of, people getting fed, families, adults even, that their children are tied to the program are getting teaching on how to lead their kids, how to feed their kids, what to do. And now we're getting this turmoil out of, this seems like left field for us, And so for me, it's just, I don't know. I'm here because I want to vouch for what I see, the new leadership, the people that are here, and I would hate for this to transpire this way. It's a lot of jobs on the line, I'll just say this, not just the jobs of the people that work at the center, but all of the community efforts that come together to do the events, the Youth Explosion, which happens every single summer, Red Ribbon Week, block parties that have transitioned or transpired, I should say, that have made an impact in our community. So I'm here just to say that. Anybody have any other questions? I know my time's up.
Thank you. If I can just make a clarifying point for you. None of the services will be leaving the facility that's there. Clearwater is right there. Maddie Williams will actually have staff, could potentially be staff that's already there in the building, so it's not 20 miles away. They're actually going to physically be there. They're just extending their
Oh, so
their
you're
reach
saying you
there.
want to transition the Maddie Williams Center to Clearwater?
Yes, it's going to be, it will participate in that at Clearwater. It's not going at that, for that particular piece of it. Clearwater, the Clearwater Center in itself is in the same building. They're right there.
Yeah.
And again, during the discussions that we've had with Clearwater and with Maddie Williams, we emphasized the fact of the employees, because we know it's not your fault. We know that they didn't create this issue. But we have, we've asked them to clearly consider the employees as they go through the process of adding staff to their programs. They're gonna have to add staff. It's not like they don't have the staff there today to do it. So they're gonna have to do that. We've asked them, they're gonna follow through what Clearwater and Maddie Williams both need to do as part of their licensing process. So I just don't want anyone to think that no one is gonna have the opportunity. I just can't guarantee who.
Okay. Well, thank you for hearing me.
The next speaker is Shantae Bradham.
Hello, my name is Shantae Bradham. I have two sets of twins that go to the after-school program. Sorry, I'm super emotional because I didn't know what this was gonna be about. I didn't know that everything you guys presented was what was happening, because we don't see that. When we go there, our kids are safe, our kids are happy, our kids are thriving. This staff that they have has done so much for my kids. I can't even begin to express the things that they have done with them. They've had cooking classes where they had a chef in the community who owns a restaurant come in and teach my kids how to cook. Every Saturday now, my kids are making breakfast for their family because they brought this chef in to teach them how to cook. They've done the Girl Scout program with them. My kids, no other community project that my kids have been in, and we used to live in Tampa, so when we first came over here, we started with a different program. And then we came to CNFC because a lot of people spoke highly about it. They were never given the opportunity to do the things that they have done in this program. Girl Scouts was never a thing for my daughters. I never thought that they would be able to get that opportunity. My kids actually were able to go to a Girl Scouts weekend retreat where they took them for the weekend and did activities with them. My daughters would never get that opportunity. Right now, my son is in boxing. I don't think they would ever get the opportunity to box because I can't afford that. And these aren't things that our community has widely available to us. So when we go to this community, this after-school program, we don't see behind the scenes. It's not the staff members' fault because these staff members do a lot. When they first started at this after-school program, it was booked. It was booked. They couldn't even get on the van, but my family decided this is where they need to be, and after school, every day, we would drop them off to the after-school program for 2 hours, and then we would pick them up just so that they can get the opportunity to go there. They didn't make it into the summer program because the application process for this center was over in 2 hours. It's that competitive to get in this program. So the whole summer, my kids were bouncing from house to house, trying to figure out what to do because I have to work. I'm supposed to be at work right now. I work at the airport. I'm supposed to be, but I decided this was more important to me. This was important to my kids, and they don't even know what's going on. And if I told them, all those kids there would be heartbroken. This staff is heartbroken. These parents are heartbroken about what has happened.
Miss Malika, she's gonna lead us in the right direction. And I truly believe that because nothing before we knew about. But I have faith in God and you that Miss Malika can lead us in the right direction. I have faith. And I want y'all to understand that this is a lot on us. This is a lot. It's a lot. I just want to thank y'all for hearing us out because this is a lot. This is a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Solomon Combs? Solomon.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Auspicious day, auspicious day. As she said, this is absolutely a lot. Absolutely a lot. I was a part of boys mentoring. I go in there, Solomon's Gyms. I go in there, and this is an exceptional program, an exceptional one, and moreover, from my understanding, this program has been here for going shy of a decade, right? Shy of a decade, 4 years or so, right? So this program has been so impactful, so impactful. You've had an opportunity to see the parents come up here and express to you how powerful this program has been. It's unfortunate, I've heard some of the members for JWB, they've never been able to experience this. That's so unfortunate. So unfortunate that you weren't able to come in and see where your money is going. See what you are transforming. This has been, like I said again, an exceptional program, right? And I understand that you're saying that you can just put them over there, right? You can put them over there. Like, yeah, that's what you're saying. You can just put them over there, right? No, sir. What you said, I've listened. I sit here and I've listened. I didn't know everything was going on, right? I didn't know everything. But after listening, after hearing that the board member wasn't giving the proper information, imagine if Nike, been in business for as long as they have, at the cusp of their transition, they have new leadership. And this leadership isn't have the same mission and mindset of Nike. It would fold, right? We're not talking about people who are members who are incompetent, can't do their jobs. We're talking about there was some bad leadership. And as the gentleman here said, from an actor at most. So a lot of what you were seeing, you weren't receiving. And that's unfortunate. But I would want you, I beg you, implore you, to look at what you're taking away from. Look at the individuals that were at play that are no longer here, which is crazy. These individuals are no longer here. These individuals who have been the building blocks of this community. I know everyone in here is wearing different kind of shoes. Everyone is wearing different kind of shoes, right? Because they fit and they operate with you, right? Barber, same thing. I'm a master barber as well. You can't just go to anybody and sit in their chair and get that experience. So as I'm saying to you, this is an exceptional program. And when it comes to exceptional things, exceptions should be made. And I'm just asking you to make those exceptional exceptions for a program that is exceptional. Exceptional. And thank you again for being part of that exceptional programming. Thank you very much. Any questions at all? Nothing? Okay. But I'm telling you, you just can't just move people to a place and expect the same result. Everybody in your position, everybody sitting in this chair, you're not the first person that's been in this chair, you're not been the first person that's been in this position, but you are here, and you're here because you're exceptional, right? Okay? So, again, thank you, and we'll keep winning.
Thank you. The next speaker is Erica Esch.
Hi. Oh, I feel quite short. Sorry about that. Hi. Okay. I come to you as a parent. I work for a nonprofit, though, so I understand the weight of what you guys have to do. So I do see the point of everything that's been said today against the previous leadership. But I come to you also on the ground in childcare facilities. So I work in multiple facilities from the top to the bottom of Pinellas County. And I can tell you that the thriving facilities are made up of their employees. The hearts of the care come from the teachers, from the childcare providers, from the people. When I walked in to pick up my kid, I didn't see Mr. Terry. I saw him once or twice a year, like to pay my fee, right? I didn't see him every day. I had no idea what he was doing in his office. I saw the workers. My kid has special needs. So it might sound like, oh, well, the people will have the opportunity to apply for the job that they already have and that they're already doing, and they're doing very well. But for my child, that will be a very hard transition if they're not chosen to keep their jobs. Other people come in. My child everyone knows my child. He is extra, right? Okay, everybody giggles, everybody knows my kid, right? He is extra. He is also extraordinary. Okay, and they saw that. They saw that in him. They cultivate that in him. They cultivate his extra, and they help him harness that to be amazing. They calm his nerves. We had a very volatile situation with another child in the program, and they helped us diffuse that. They helped my son and that child work together, and now, instead of it being a complete, crisis every time they come in contact with each other, they're actually conversing and talking. I wouldn't say that they're friends, but they can get along. That doesn't happen by accident. That does not happen. That there is effort, there is care, there is love that is put into those situations. And I know because I do that all day. I train teachers how to care for kids, to make connections with kids. I train parents and help parents create consistency and structure. And I can do that, and I can do my job fully, I can do that fully because I trust where my child is. Thank you.
Sorry, Marilyn? Is there anyone named Marilyn? Okay. Our next one's Shakita Bellamy. Is she? No. And then I just have one card that just says Clearwater Neighborhood Family Center does not have a name. So if someone forgot to put their name on the card.
Okay, thank you.
Well, no, I think she just said put the name, please.
Good morning. Good morning. Oh, good morning, okay. All right. I first want to start off by saying I completely understand your position. I have been with this organization for 15 years. Started off at the office manager, then went to the program manager, then the interim, and now the CEO, where I would hope I would be able to make a big difference. I can understand JWB's frustration. I am completely frustrated as I have just become aware of all of this information. I was never privy to any of this. I just want to make a few points. This morning, the JWB board has heard from staff, parents, community members, and independent contractors. And one thing is very clear. The people at CNFC, we're just not staff. We are family to this community. Our programs are not just services. They are unique lifelines that our team strategically creates annually to support the need of the families of the North Greenwood community. A lot of the programming that we do, it's not copycat programming. It's things that we come up with and we implement, and those things work. As indicated, our services include an after-school program, and these programs are designed by staff to enhance the participant experience, okay? There's a lot of after-school programs out there. I've visited a lot of them. It's not a lot going on. It's not a lot going on. But we do have a lot going on, as per you have heard from all of the parents. All of our summer break, spring break, Thanksgiving, and winter camps, these give the families the stability year-round that they give families the stability year-round to continue to work as kids are out of school. And the programming is so good that they just come back year after year. In addition, our family development work, that just helps households get stronger. We actually have 95 to 100% participation of every parent meeting that we have. I have not heard another NFC say that, ever. Not 95 to 100% participation for parent meetings. The agency has also established collaborations in which our participants and families greatly benefit from. The City of Clearwater, Clearwater Jazz Holiday, Metropolitan Ministry, Zero Suicide, Pinellas County Schools, More to Life, Downtown Boxing, several more. But the measure of our impact it goes a little deeper than that. Several of our current volunteers and employees are former participants. These were once children who sat in our classrooms being taught by the program. Now they teach the program. I think that says a great deal. It shows that we grow leaders. It shows that we build futures, and we inspire generations to give back to their community. We don't have to have kids grow out of our program, go off to college and come back, but they do. They come back and actually work for us. Our board treasurer, let me say this in closing. In an effort not to have a repeat of events, we are within our 30-day window, and we did submit our information to JWB with our new board members. Those new board members do have a plan to move our organization forward. And I just want to say also, if you guys do move forward with the organization, with closing the organization, I would ask that at least my staff would be able to keep their jobs. This is not their fault. They show up every single day and have to apply for a job for a program in which they created. Is absolutely ridiculous why the two culprits who came together to put our agency in the situation like this is sitting home comfortably, while myself and my team might potentially have to go out and get new jobs. I don't see where the justice is in that. I don't see where that's fair. Do you guys have any questions?
This conference is now ending. Goodbye.
No, thank you.
I have some questions. Do we have more speakers?
No more cards.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to go into discussion next. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So no questions of me? Okay.
No other public speakers?
No, just one.
We actually just have another person.
I did have a question.
Oh, Malika?
What was your name?
My name is Malika McCluster.
Did you put in a card?
I did.
Okay. We just missed you?
Yeah.
All right, come on up.
All right,
And if you can
this
give
is
us your name so she can get your card.
Shakita Bellamy.
I am Shakita Bellamy. Good morning, everyone. I was employed back in November 2023. I was a former Grady employee, and I firsthand witnessed when the transition occurs, there's still families left out. There's still families that, as an employee here with Clearwater Neighborhood Family Center, I actually reach back for and still serve. It's been a pleasure to come into an organization that not only am I working for, but now I feel like family. Most of the staff, the younger staff, they refer to me as auntie. We have a really close-knit family there. We serve from our hearts. It took years to build the relationships that I have with many of the residents from the North Greenwood community. It's been a pleasure to serve and to take the goals of the clients and actually form a community conversations, so to speak, thing where we're doing line dancing all the time. We're doing different activities that meet the needs and help those families to actually get to that next phase in their lives. it's unfortunate, the things that has occurred in the background, but it is also fortunate to be able to have a positive solution. And I believe with my whole heart that Malika McCluster will do the job. I don't know what everyone up here thinks or what the final decisions are, and I don't know if you've made that final decision, but I too say, please give us a chance. I know that we have everything that we need to go forward, to make a difference, to continue being on the right path. The families, the other stuff, the community services that we bring for the community, the relationships, it's so important. The relationships, they have to trust you in order to, with their lives, you know, and I've met so many wonderful people. North Greenwood is thriving, and I've met a lot of different people in different organizations. We just come together for the betterment of the community. And I was a little overtaken earlier. I had to get myself together. But I just beg of you to just give us a chance. And I know when the parents fill out those forms and they put their children in aftercare, they're signing documents saying, we got you for the school year, you know? And can you imagine, I'm a parent, my kids actually come through the program as well, but can you imagine that disturbance that it would cause? North Greenwood, not North Greenwood, but Ross Norton is full. Just the school year, let us just go through the school year at least. And I believe that'll be enough time to show you all. We're just talking now, but we actually have actions behind what we're talking about. We are thriving. We are just getting to that place where results are coming in. And if you look back at some of the things that I've done, I believe 20 events last fiscal year, 20 different events, from vision boards and, like I said, line dancing, and there's just so many things. I can't think of everything, but I know I serve from my heart. They serve from their heart.
Thank
we
you.
are family.
Thank you for your time. Mr. McCary, do you have
Just one. Again, I want to clarify the fact that the program in itself is not going away. The program will continue. Leadership will change. We've had conversations with both Maddie Williams and with Clearwater to discuss the need for them to review the employees. We can't control that, but we've asked them to ensure that as they take on the roles, assuming the board makes that decision, they will look to the people that are there. And I'm clearly, in my mind, if they hear the passion that we've been hearing, I have to believe that they'll take that, heavily into their discussions, and if that's the way the board wants to move. So, but I just want to make it clear for the parents here that the program is not moving. It's not changing, other than, and I can't guarantee the physical people there. That's the part I can't do. And understanding some of the comments about, how other organizations can operate. My role in my past life was in international consulting, and I consulted to Nike, and I consulted to Adidas and others, so I understand how and what the operations are. And so I really feel for and understand what you're saying. But it's now up to the board to make a decision as to what direction and they would like to move.
Okay, so we have a motion, a second. We're in discussion. Judge Moore?
Discussion. What I heard here today was that the program is not the building, it is the workers. So for them, the program is changing. For them, the fact that even though Maddie Williams is available, even though Clearwater is available, the concern that I hear from the parents is that it is the staff. And I am so grateful and thankful that they're willing to interview them for a job it is that they're doing. The unfortunate circumstances that these children are going to lose. The workers are going to lose. And it is not because of anything, it is that they did. This is the second time we've had to have a discussion about a neighborhood family center, and it's the neighborhood and the families that lose. You know how a board could just sit and not really be well-informed, and then we're at this position where we are the bad guys. I don't know if there is a middle ground, and I don't know, and we are justified in feeling the way that we feel, and they're justified in feeling the way that they feel, but the babies are going to lose for the rest of this school year if there's an immediate change. I'm not, and I don't know what the middle ground is, but I hear you.
So I'd just like to thank you all for coming out and being heard and using your voice. It was very impactful to me. I've been a member of the board since 2020, and this is probably the most impactful statements I've heard, and I'm really concerned about what's happening. I do have a question. You had mentioned, Mr. Stephen, that there was a direct email from you and that was disregarded. Is that who disregarded that and who made that decision?
Sent it to the board chair and to the interim executive director.
And who is the board chair?
Lisa Harris.
And is Lisa Harris considered not been removed as the board chair at this point?
She's the new board chair.
She's a new board chair.
As of when? Just, if you, when did that happen? Just for clarification, so the board knows.
Could we have Malika come up and address that since?
We were not notified.
Because that's a concern of mine, because we're talking about a positive new board and there was direction as of, recently, and that direction was disregarded. So I just want to ensure that that person is no longer a participant in the board or has any action with the board, because it seems like if they're still currently part of the board, it was a blatant disregard for a director from JWB. And before I vote, I really want to know that that person is not involved anymore or has been removed.
Our new board president is Frank Coroner. If you check our SunBiz, you will see our complete board list. That information has been sent to our contract manager. And I believe as well as the COO of JWB.
When did he take the position?
It was October 8th, I believe.
I heard someone say someone was removed on September 30th.
The former board president, Lisa Harris, according to our bylaws, they have a 2-year term. Every position that holds a seat has a 2-year term. You can be reelected for another 2-year, that's it. She's been a president for 4 years. I think Terry was there for about 6 or 7, so she was there during his time frame. She came off of the board on September 30th. She is no longer, according to our bylaws, the president. However, she has been acting as so. I have not been able to reach anyone at JWB to have any communication. I have sent emails. I have tried to kind of say, hey, this is what's going on, but because I have been exited out of all communication, JWB has no idea who the real board is or who the new board president is. And that's because I'm not able to speak with anyone, not a contract manager or anyone.
And so my concern is that, we've given a directive and it was very clear, and that I'm just trying to figure out if the person who is disregarding JWB's direction or persons is you seem like a great leader and you have everybody behind you. And I think he spoke volumes about you vouching for you. When a parent does that, that means everything. But I just want to make sure that those people would be removed.
They're gone.
We need to address that with.
I have a few updates to share. So at 9:47 p.m. last night, an email was sent to our program consultant with updated changes that happened on October 9th. So we were not notified before last evening at 9:47 p.m.
And that is correct.
Secondly, hold on
I just wanted to say
Malika.
that was correct.
Secondly, on 9/24, our CFO sent an email to, at the time, and we were unaware, we spoke with Lisa Harris as of yesterday, who is over, as I understand, all the accounts and stuff like that. She was the board chair, as we understood, yesterday as we spoke to her. An email was sent to Malika and to Lisa Harris on 9/24 from our CFO because there was a request to increase salaries for about 7 positions. And Robbie responded that that was not approved by JWB. And as of yesterday, we received notification from Lisa Harris that some of those salary increases went through. And so, again, that's what Robbie's saying. Today, we're going to get a reimbursement and that we would review that. And if any of those raises that were not approved have come through, we would reject those.
Okay. And so were you aware of that or not?
Absolutely not.
No. Okay. And so I have faith in you based on your support system and what people have said about you as new leadership. And so I think that that is something that we probably should explore. And the other point that I want to make is that I believe that it is a reimbursement situation, right? So the JWB board has the ability, if we see something nefarious or something that wasn't approved, to reject that. So when we're talking about protecting taxpayer dollars, there's some money that's already been allocated that's out there. We really don't have much control over that. But going forward, we would have the ability, if they were not in complete compliance, to say, we're not going to pay it. Is that accurate?
That's accurate. So they have a budget. We fund 93% of that, and they need to follow the budget that was approved when we put the contract together. And these expenditures are even outside of that budget.
Right. So if there were new leadership and they took control over it and they had better communication with JWB, if they deviated from that in any way, JWB would have the ability to say, great, figure out how to fund it because we're rejecting that money. That's correct, right?
That's correct. And the other little bit of information that needs to be considered is the advance money that we put out for the operating. It is still out there, and that's created their cash position that these unapproved expenses are being paid from. So while it's not directly other budget, it's out of the advance.
And Malika, how would you address that if you were in?
Can we have her address that also, please, real quick?
I just want to say, Malika, you did receive the email on 9/24 from our CFO not approving any of the requested salary increases.
Right. So I don't know what has been done. The only thing that has, when I was brought on to be an interim, of course, my position was open. Morgan Morris fulfilled that position. Those were the only two salaries that changed, and we do have board minutes to reflect that. So
you're not aware of any other?
I am not.
You were not made aware of that?
Absolutely
and so
not.
I guess my question to you is, how do we prevent that if we were to say we're moving forward and I have some comfort in that it's a reimbursement situation instead of an allocation situation. How would you prevent that going forward? Because we seem to have a bit of a conflict here where JWB believes they were given a very direct directive and that was sent to you, yet you're uninvolved in it and weren't aware of other things. So how do we make sure that you are involved in those decisions, and how would you take control of that moving forward?
Yes, as I previously stated, I reached out to our contract manager. I replied to the email that was sent to me from the CFO. I asked if I could come in and meet. I've asked if I can, speak and kind of see what's going on. I've just been made aware of all of these things. I want to know how we can work through it. And I haven't gotten any communication from JWB whatsoever.
Okay.
I've been completely in the dark, and I've seen primarily because they've been dealing with Lisa Harris.
No disrespect to
Malika,
but she was on the
board
call
president.
with us with Lisa Harris when we spoke about us bringing this to the board.
That you were on the call. I just want to state, Lisa Harris does not make it easy for anybody else to express themselves on that board. If it's not Lisa Harris's way, it's not at all.
And so why is she on the board? So why don't you affect that change?
Because right now, we already have done it. And her term was to end in 2025, and we do have minutes and a letter showcasing that from Terry Jones.
But she would remain on the board until the end of the year?
No.
Okay.
No, she's completely out.
Judge
Like,
Moore?
her term is done.
And I just want to make a point too. The reason why JWB wasn't informed until last evening of the changes is because it was not correctly changed on SunBiz until then. I wanted to make sure there's a lot of miscommunication. There is a lot of just unorganization. So when I sent everything over, I wanted to put in board minutes. I wanted to put everything in on Sunbiz. A letter from our secretary went to JWB announcing who the new board chair is. A letter has went to Lisa Harris letting her know she is to return all office equipment, any financial things. As of now, I've been blocked out of the banking account, payroll. I don't have access to our Zoom account. She has everything. So we have issued that so we can retrieve those things. She is off of the board. Terry is gone. And there is one other individual that is in question that if we move forward, that person will be let go as well. We are on a mission to restore this agency if only we are provided an opportunity to do so. Prior to Terry Jones, CNFC, we didn't have situations like that. Not with Joanne Nesbitt, not with Michael Coleman, not when I was the interim. But Terry Jones and Lisa Harris has put us in a pickle.
And I'd just like to say to the parents, I understand the childcare situation very well, and I understand that disruption in the middle of the school year can cause irreparable harm. I understand that, so you've been heard on that by me.
The question that I have is, I think I heard Ms. Boges state that on September the 24th, there was a directive saying do not raise anyone's salary or whatever. I'm trying to figure out why the board thought it was okay to even put it in the minutes to give the two people that you just said got raises, still can't do it. So why and how was it done?
I don't know what this information is referring to. With the information that was sent, I don't know where I've been out of compliance in that. I have no idea. This is the first I'm hearing of this.
Ms. Chip.
Thank you. I wanted to say to the parents, first of all, I'm a parent of two boys. I hear everything you're saying. My oldest was one of those special children too, and without his preschool teachers and daycare teachers, when he was younger, he wouldn't be the college graduate and young man that he is with his first career job. And I know I feel you on all of that. It's the teachers, it's the community, it's the center. I get that. My question is to Mike and probably Colleen. I don't know if there is a middle ground here. So I'm hearing you say that Maddie Williams is going to come in and take over the business operation is the proposal, but it'll be at the same actual location.
So Maddie, for the family support services piece of the programming, Maddie Williams would be taking that program component over and would have an office at the North Greenwood location where the program currently is out of and serving families in that community. The same goes for the City of Clearwater, operates currently a middle school after-school program at North Greenwood. They would be implementing for the elementary school youth, the after-school and summer programming there.
Okay, so my question is, I'm wondering if there is a legal way at all, I think Colleen's to, I know, Mike, you were saying that we can't ask Maddie Williams to take the staff or to keep the program, essentially. I mean,
For their portion, yes.
So-
Clearwater's in the same.
right. But as we're giving them, if we were to do this leadership transition and give them the gift of additional contract and additional funding to their programs, is there a legal way to say that they need to keep the staff and the program as is, or is
Colleen,
that?
I believe and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that because due to the licensing, if you want to take over that.
Sure, so if the program is going to be operated by either Maddie Williams or City of Clearwater, JWB will contract with those entities, right?
Right.
And so JWB doesn't dictate who they hire because there are all sorts of issues. If it's a licensed program, to Mr. McCurrick's point, you as the employer have to make sure they have level 2 screening, and then the City of Clearwater may have different hiring standards than, say, Maddie Williams, or so we can't force them to hire anybody. And I would assure you that if we attempted to put in the contract that you must hire these people, they would not agree to that. Their lawyer would say, no, 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 we're going to screen these people. We're going to determine if they meet our criteria. Now, I'm assuming that these folks who are already working in a childcare setting all have been level 2 screened, and so that's not the issue. It would just be whether or not the individual employers wished to make the new hire.
Go ahead.
Any other
Just
discussion?
to clarify that, I believe that even though they're already level 2, they would have to do level 2 again based on our conversations with Clearwater. I'm just going by the.
Access to the warehouse.
Yeah.
Right, so there's
there's
the DCF clearinghouse.
They just need to check the clearinghouse.
Right, you check the
So
clearinghouse.
if your level 2 clearance
Correct.
is already, is
It's in there.
current,
Yeah.
then you're in there, so all they have to do is look it up.
Perfect, thanks for
Because
the
the way the
clarification.
clearinghouse works is that if there's a problem, then you get dinged. But that's not the only criteria that employers have, right? That's one of many. So we just can't force them to hire a specific individual.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you so much to all of you that came out this morning. I heard you, and it's very heartfelt. I mean, one of you brought tears to my eyes. I can't imagine being in this position, and learning about all of this is certainly very disheartening. And obviously, us board members weren't aware and privy to all of the details of what was happening in this program. I don't know if there's a way to bring this school until the end of the school year, but I did hear that request several times, and I would be in support of that if we had checks and balances and a way to do that, just to make it less disruptive for the change. I'm not saying that there wouldn't be a change, but to bring it to the end of the school year, I would support if there would be other board members who would also support that.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone for your comments today. I probably understand in a slightly different way than everybody else the value of an after-school program. I have 3 kids, all school age between kindergarten and 5th grade. So I work. I send them to an after-school program. They have spent most of their lives in some sort of neighborhood community after-school club, something or other, because for whatever reason, the school day ends very early for me. So I know, I have watched my middle child, my daughter, weep when one of her, program teachers has left to get a master's or go to another program or what, she will still bring up toddler program, teachers. Even now, sometimes she'll say, "Oh, mommy, do you remember so-and-so?" So I hear you when you say that it is the connections that you have with the kids that you serve. I hear parents when they say it is one of the most important things, just as if not more important than the teachers that they have in school, because they learn just as much about themselves, about each other, about how to trust people and how to thrive in different environments. So I hear you all, and I think that it is obvious to me that what you are doing there, what the kids are doing there, is an integral part of your neighborhood, that it is a well-loved and very important part of your community. That is not the part that needs to change. And we hear you when you say, please don't take it out on us. We're not trying to. What we're trying to do is make sure that the money that you all have to do your magic goes to the kids. And that means paying y'all properly. That means running your programs properly. And we can't do that unless we make sure, you can't do that unless we make sure that the taxpayer dollars are being handled properly. And that's what we want. We want the kids to get the most value from every single dollar. It sounds like, and I hear all these the program staff back there, I hear you. Like, this is absolutely, you guys are taking every dollar and giving it straight to the kids, probably with a little bit of little extra on top, right? That you're not getting paid for, and I know that. So that's not the part that we want to change. And none of us can see the future, but we can see the paper trail. It's not right. And everybody knows this, right? We're not saying that the paper trail wasn't all kinds of messed up. So at this point, we need to look forward and see how can we manage, and we're trying to do the best that we can to manage the money. We don't want to move the program. I know I can't, if a program that I send my kids to moves 20 minutes away, I can't send my kids to that program anymore. We know that. That's why it's staying in the building, right? We just need to change who is touching the dollars. Y'all are touching the children, their services, their hearts, their brains, everything, right? So we don't want to change that. We just can't promise you because we don't have control over that part. So I want to reassure you in as much as I can that that is not where we want to change things. Y'all are doing it right. It's the money that went wrong, and the right part doesn't keep going right if the money stays wrong. So there needs to be a bridge, and it's not, it feels like we're taking it out on you guys and we're taking it out on the kids, and I can see that perspective as well, but it really is, we're trying to fix it the best way that we can, and I know that moving forward, we're gonna be able to do that, and I personally, after hearing you all, I want you all to be there. I'm gonna just send my kids up to do some stuff, hang out. Y'all see some Asian kids running around, screaming. Those are mine. So I thank you. Thank you for your comments today. Thank you for your contributions. And we are just we're all trying to do the right thing for the kids here.
All right, Ms. Chia, do you have another comment before we vote?
I have another question. So Maddie Williams and the Clearwater Center have made assurances, and is there anything that we can do? So we can't tell them you have to hire the staff, but what kind of assurances have they given or can they give that they're not gonna move the program and that they're gonna keep it locally in that location?
There's no intent to move out of that building. In fact, the work that's being done by Clearwater is in the same facility. So they have, their program is in the exact same facility, just a different space. So they're not moving, it's agreed that they're not moving moving anything out of the facility. Mm-hmm. Maddie Williams has agreed to have staff at the facility, and Clearwater is giving assurances that they will have office space and access space for Maddie Williams in that building. So okay. It's very clear from there. Again, so the staffing issue is and I 100% hear everything that the parents are saying, and dependent again on your board, whatever the board decision might be, if it were to go to defund and move forward, I will absolutely advocate with both organizations to ensure that they will consider the staff that's there. And I think if they hear the staff and listen to their messaging, I think there's a very good chance that they will take that into consideration. I can't guarantee it, but I will advocate it.
Yeah, and thank you, I appreciate that. The only other thing I just wanted to say is clearly the leadership is still in disarray as of today. I know you're asking for more time to fix that, but you mentioned the one person that's still on the board, Lisa, whether she is or isn't still on the board. Was it Lisa, what's her name though?
Yes.
September 30th.
Yeah, so she's no longer on the board, but it sounds like you might still have concerns with other people who are there. So in other words,
No, we don't.
It's been a long time now, and things are still in disarray and transition, so it's not giving me a lot of confidence. I have a lot of confidence in your ability as the CEO and the things you've shared here and the confidence people have in you, but I don't have confidence that that board is settled and that there won't be future issues. So providing a lot more time, I'm not really comfortable with that. I think the proposal, I asked to see the proposal because there was gonna be a wind down time for 90 days till December.
It'll go to December 31st, and
So I don't know if there's an opportunity to provide, okay, if you can, you know, get things together in a month and a half before the end of that, you know, December period. But I know you need to move forward on the transition as well. So I still lean towards approving this, even though it's very, very difficult decision.
And I just want to say as well, and I will say this again, we have a brand new board. We have people heavily with the backgrounds in finance, where we need to be, fundraising, where we need to be, HR, where we need to be. I've taken the time, the board has taken the time to put together qualified people. The former members of the board are no longer. We keep having this issue with money, but as I mentioned before, I don't have access to our account. The former board president does. Someone who's not even on the board has access to our account right now.
And what's concerning to me is why does she still have control over all the accounts when
Okay.
she was supposedly gone September 30th?
Just again to clarify,
I mean,
no one
just-
has access. No one has access to the monies. Now, Lisa
Okay.
may have, but she has to go through.
But that's concerning, right? Because that's still like.
They just made the
Right.
shift.
Yeah, we-
September 30th.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a
Anyway.
motion and a second on the floor.
I wanted to make a change to the motion.
So we have to vote on the motion, and then if it does fail, right then we make another motion.
Okay.
Okay, so the motion on the floor is to approve the termination of Dr. Martin Luther King Neighborhood Family Center, DBA Clearwater Neighborhood Family Center, effective December 31, 2025. That's the first motion. And you have a motion and a second for that.
Okay, so all in favor? Aye? No, we haven't voted on it yet.
Vote on it now.
We just had a lot of discussion in between.
So we need to have a vote on that first motion. We have, all in favor?
Aye.
We have two affirmatives to the terminating of the contract
As of
as of December 31. Anyone opposed to that motion?
Opposed?
Opposed.
I'm opposed as well.
I mean, I'm not quite sure.
I wanted to change the date on when it ends.
They get absorbed by Matty Williams and all that, and the board's history, the whole.
That's all, yeah,
Will validate that.
yes.
And I would just comment, I guess really not time for comment, but
Well-
the money is reimbursed and can be rejected if it's misspent.
So, Bruce, what's your vote?
Up to terminate by the end of December.
You're for it? So, for it, so
So 3-3.
those 3-3.
So we currently have yes, and yes for Mr. Bartlett. Ms. Rutland and Ms. Muller were no's, correct?
And Ms. Nage?
And
were-
Nage
Ms.
was,
Nage is a no, and then Chief, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a 4-3 vote to terminate effective 12/31/2025.
Okay.
The second part of the motion before you that Ms. Bogus and Mr. Shivers addressed. Oh, I'm so sorry. The second motion is the second paragraph down there, which is to authorize the CEO to contract up to $620,317 with the city of Clearwater and Matty Williams. At his discretion, it would be an up to figure without requiring further approval to continue after-school summer and family support programming for those. And then JWB staff would bring an update
Sarah-
at November.
Excuse me, Sarah's leaving. If she needs to vote.
We still have 6, we're fine.
Are you still okay?
Yeah. And so then JWB staff would update as to the progress of that, but the ask is that you approve staff to proceed accordingly right now.
So we need a motion.
It is, okay. The second part of the motion is to authorize the CEO to contract up to $620,317 with the city of Clearwater and Matty Williams Neighborhood Family Center at his discretion without further approval to continue the after-school, summer, and family support programming.
I'm sorry, I just want to clarify, that's to redistribute that funding to the.
Correct. The 620, and Karen can speak to this, the 620 is 9/12 of the current allocation, so it would be a reallocation of those dollars between those two entities. We don't know the exact dollar breakup yet.
So my question and concern, again, about trying to maintain the program, you know, from the staff level down as much as possible. You're gonna have the staff report on that at the November meeting, on the transition,
Oh,
right?
yes.
That's part of the thing.
Yes. Once we,
I would just be
once we
more-
have this vote, assuming whatever the
Yeah.
vote becomes, assuming that the vote is to move forward, we'll provide that to Clearwater. Clearwater will be meeting with their board on November. Matty Williams, I believe, is also meeting in November as well to finalize their final approval. And we will be, working on negotiating the split between them.
Okay. And I would just want to make sure that we get a report back regarding, the kind of the oversight of those funds and what happened with the program, where it's
will.
standing. I just want to make sure that,
You will get a report back in November.
yeah, I want to, hopefully it can be maintained to everyone's satisfaction, so the parents and the staff and everyone can continue to build on the wonderful work that we've heard about, so.
The objective is as smoothly as possible to make the transition and not impact the parents as much as we possibly can. Understand that we control portions of that, not totally, because of the transition, but we will work very closely with both organizations to ensure that there's a smooth transition.
Try to maintain.
Yes,
jobs.
yes. Like I said, I will advocate for all the employees with both organizations. And hopefully, again, as they meet with the employees, they'll hear similarly what we've heard today.
Okay, so accept the motion.
We need a motion and a second, please.
I accept the motion.
A second.
I'll second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving on to next is determine the JWB CEO search process. Ms. Flynn?
So Judge Moore was going to give our update, but Ms. Nage is going to go ahead and do that since she had to get to court.
The search committee did meet this morning, and after hearing in person the representative from MGT, we had previously met in person with the representative from SGR. Is that SGR? Did I get the letters right? We did take a vote to move forward with the full service package with MGT.
And so the committee would need to make a recommendation to the board to enter into a contract with MGT for a full scope proposal, which has a total cost of $24,000 plus some costs that could be associated with postings or some minimal travel costs. And therefore, that's a committee recommendation. And so it would just require board approval.
And I just want to add to that real quick. You all know I was loath to even recommend full service and to spend the money on this CEO search, et cetera, but I want to see a transparent process move forward. However, in the presentations, this is what I wanted to share with all of you that weren't in the presentations with us. The reason we recommended to just go forward with the full service and not the pared down versions is because the way these search companies work, it's kind of a package deal, that how they help you through the process. And there really wasn't significant savings to try and pare it down, but we did lose services trying to pare it down so that we wouldn't have the same flexibility. So an example of that is to do background searches in the full pop. They'll do it on like 5 or 6 candidates, but the pared down version, we could only get 3 candidates background checked without spending additional a la carte money, which at the end of the day, you're gonna end up paying, the same rate as what their full search is. So that's why the search committee kind of swung back to, well, maybe we should just pay for the, full pop service then, because the savings, it would be kind of painful and might cost just as much. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
There were other detrimental items in the process that would have been cut out as well that included.
Melissa, is your mic on?
I was just gonna say, thank you. There was other services in the processes, the detrimental services that would have been cut out of, they did the processes are like 1 through 12, and you would only get a portion of each process, which really, to me and other committee members, thought that the full thing would, if we were doing a full search, that's what we needed to move forward with.
I just have a question. If and when this would be approved to move forward, have timelines been discussed of what we're looking for as far as?
So from a legal perspective, the first thing we would do if you approve this is get the contract executed with MGT, and then that consultant would meet with your committee, and then those timelines would be set by the committee. And
Okay,
they
I
would
just
continue
remember
to
at one
update
point
you.
it was discussed if we were going to try to get this all in place before or after sessions. Just curious if that, but that makes sense. Thank you.
I would be for an aggressive timeline, personally. I'd rather see it just get settled, but, you know, I'm only one member on the committee, so.
Several of the interviewees did say it's 3 to 6 month process.
Okay, thank you. That's kind of what I
Sure.
was looking for.
Any other comment, any other discussion on this? Anything, Bruce?
On the search.
Yeah.
I don't know the details.
Put your mic on.
Your mic.
I don't personally know what the details are as far as what the committee has decided, but it's gonna go outside now, it sounds like, out into the, it won't obligate us ultimately as to who we choose, it just give us more information as to who we ultimately do. You know, I had suggested before that I thought it was appropriate, given the circumstances, was Mike would be the candidate to take over the position without having to do a search, but that apparently was met with opposition, so I guess we gotta do a search on the thing. I don't see where we're gonna get it. You're gonna get a lot of outside people from areas that aren't, you know. with
Just, if
knowledge.
anybody on the committee wants to address Bruce, I'm just the lawyer.
We have.
That's usually my line, so.
I was told that we had to, because the board had voted to have this committee, you can't just dissolve the committee without a motion, so.
The board could
that's
dissolve
what I
the
was
committee.
asking
Okay.
you to
Legally-
speak to.
Motion to dissolve the committee.
So here's a question, if you're gonna dissolve the committee and then we move forward with a contract with MGT, then does every decision have to come to the full board for the
Yes, I mean,
processing?
if you dissolve the CEO search committee, yet you're still proceeding with the search, then yes, everything would require the board, and that would require at least a quorum of the board, which is why historically, as well as this time, we asked for a CEO search committee, because it's difficult to get a quorum of the board together as often as is needed for handling the search process. And so, as has happened historically, there's been a search committee until it's narrowed, and then the full board becomes more involved.
Yeah, because the results would still come before the full board.
Yes, according to the bylaws, the full board is responsible for the hiring and the firing of the CEO.
So we have a motion to dissolve the CEO search committee, correct?
Correct.
Okay. We have a second.
A second.
Any other discussion? My discussion is, I think that's actually a good move myself. I think that we shouldn't waste taxpayer dollars on a search group. I mean, there's candidates, and if we want candidates, there's candidates in Pinellas County, they can come apply, and then we can put a group together that looks at that. But quite frankly, we got a lot of things going on right now, and Mr. McCarrick has done a really good job at making a lot of moves within the organization. I can tell you, I've owned a couple of businesses, so I understand how business works. I've sat on a lot of boards, 34 years in special districts. Shaking up the tree every 3 months is not good for any government entity or business, doesn't matter which one it is. And that's what we're looking to do by changing the CEO right away again, if that's where we wanted to go, or that's what our purpose is. It's not good. We're moving in some really great strides forward right now. A lot of good things have been done. You saw the 90-day report that came out. I think he's been in touch with all of you on a regular basis. That is the ask, obviously, of the board, that happens, and it's in our policies as well. I just don't think, I don't think it's a good idea. I mentioned this last time at the last meeting, I brought this up, that I didn't think it was a good idea to spend the money on it right now, to waste taxpayer dollars on something that most likely might not be good for the organization. We should sit back and wait a little bit and let this keep moving in the direction it's moving in right now. Let's keep building on what we're building on. And if we're looking to make that change, maybe we look at that change sometime after the first year somewhere, or, you know, later down, maybe a year from now, 2 years from now. I don't know. I just know it's not good for the organization to make that shakeup right now. So I am in favor of this as well, but, so we do have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Yes, dissolving the search committee. So that, there was a lot in what you just said, right? So her motion is just to dissolve the search committee. It's not to pause the search. It's not to, whether or not to hire a search firm or any of those things, right? I'm just, for clarity. So if the committee is dissolved, then we have to, as a full board, discuss every single one of those other issues. And have a full board.
Correct.
Just making sure.
Yeah, no, you're right on the money. Okay, so any other discussion? All right, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye? Aye. And opposed?
Oppose.
So just one opposition, correct? All right, so that motion carries. So we have dissolved the CEO search committee. All right, so next up is the chief executive. Go ahead, sorry.
I mean, even though we're on that, the point of bringing forward the recommendation from the subcommittee was to try and get this off the blocks to move forward with a CEO search. So I'd like to make a motion to bring before the board that we hire the search committee, or barring, well, I guess a motion, I can only do one thing, right? So I'd like to know what the board thinks about moving forward with a full search committee, or just advertising it and just moving forward.
Either the full search firm or full search committee.
Oh, sorry, firm. So hire a firm, or
I don't think the rest of the board was privy to what we've learned, and maybe you should communicate that part first.
about the search committees, you mean? Or I mean, the search firms?
Right, the purpose of it.
Yeah,
was
because I think
the
that's,
structure.
I think that's what we were just talking about before they dissolved the search committee, right? Which is that the firms help support a lot of things that JWB can't do themselves. And can't do legally, as Colleen has told us as well. So it helps to have the firm, that outside entity, to help with this particular search. So do we want to move forward with looking for a search firm? Or, because
and I just want to, I want to clarify as well, because I think we're like all doing something different inside our heads, because it's been a long morning. So I think the purpose of dissolving the search committee was so that the board as a whole can make any future decisions on a CEO search. The intention was not to then stop the search for a CEO, but to say that we, the board, should make a decision on the next step in the search for the CEO. I don't disagree that Mike is doing a good job and that maybe he's the best candidate. Maybe he is. I would be in support of completing a search for transparency, for just the effort of seeing if there was someone better. And those are the discussions that have been occurring in the search committee meetings, which is that we don't necessarily have the capacity or the staff or the wherewithal to organize, structure, and then schedule everything that comes along with the search for a permanent CEO. So that's why this morning in the search committee, the conversation was the most cost-effective way of completing the search is by hiring a recruitment firm. And that decision came with after so many spreadsheets and conversations about what can we take out to make it a reasonable amount, a less than what we would have to do if we did it piecemeal or what have you. I think that the overriding concern in the search committee was always, we just want to make sure that we do this correct. We do it correctly. We do it correctly for the transparency to the taxpayers. We do it correctly for making sure that we are choosing, that we have put it out there, gotten qualified candidates, and made the choice for the most qualified candidate. So I just wanted to clarify a little bit that, yes, we have voted to dissolve the CEO search committee, but also we still want to continue the CEO search and want to affect that by hiring a full-time recruitment firm. And the CEO search committee, after looking at all the numbers, had made the choice, made the recommendation of MGP.
So let me just
And
say,
could I just clarify a point, please,
Sure.
before you speak? Thank you so much. What, Kristen, if you could clarify with me, one of the discussion points that we had in the meeting several times now is in hiring a firm, it wasn't to do the search. It was, we were just going to open it up onto the website, not pay for ads and go above and beyond, but it was to actually perform the actions. I just wanted to make that clarification.
I just wanted to jump in that legally, you don't have to hire the search firm. That's, as somebody said that I said legally you had to. Absolutely not. It's just procedurally, there's got to be somebody to champion or master the search or push it through. And in years past, there's always been, it was Mary Grace, and then she's not available these times. So that's the issue.
so let me just comment. When all this took place, when Beth handed her resignation in, we were looking for someone to be an interim CEO because we didn't know where we were going, what was going to happen, and what the future was of JWB at that point, correct? So at that point, we voted to contact Mr. McCurrick, who was at sea somewhere in the Mediterranean, to see if he would be an intern person to come in, help us get through till we can get to a point where we could search for a CEO. During that time, we have found that he has done a really phenomenal job and has made a lot of great changes in here. The purpose of searching for a CEO is because we're not happy with the CEO and we need to find someone to replace him or they're retiring. Right now, in my opinion, I'm not unhappy with our CEO, who is the intern, and he's not retiring at this very moment. Does he want to be here permanently? I don't know. We haven't asked him that as a board. We don't know what his stature is. Can he apply for the position? Absolutely, he can apply for the position if that's where the board wants to go. But in my look, we're not in need of a CEO at this moment right now that we need to push forward with this so hard that we need to continue on searching for a CEO. That's my personal opinion as a board member. And I'm looking at it as a business, as a government entity, as what we're doing and how is the organization running, how is it performing. Are we looking at what our goals are and our mission statement is? I think we're looking at all of it right now, and I think some of the things we talked about today prove that. We found another fault that we're fixing, right? A fault that's been going on for years before he was here. So now we're uncovering, this isn't the first thing we've uncovered. We've uncovered some other things since he's been our CEO. I think that we're finding a lot of things that he's doing a really great job. And if you're doing a great job, do we need to pressure to find another CEO at this very moment? Let's get the organization straightened out. Let's get this plan on level field and where we're going, where this board should be at, where this organization should be at. So that's my comment. That's where I think we're at, honestly. And so with that, the board should decide, do they really continue to look for a CEO, or do we get this thing moving where it's supposed to be? And I think we're going in the right direction.
And I agree. I know you all know that because I've said it before, but with what he just said. And, Mike comes to us with how many years? 12, 15 years?
11 years.
11 years.
12 years on the board. And then
on the board experience, plus his background experience. But you have someone that's here that's known the historical transitions by the organization, that knows the things that have happened that were good, the things that were happened that were bad. Now you bring that person in to be the CEO, who now you did, and there's acting CEO, and he's already looking at things, making positive changes, looking to edit some of these payments to these companies and where we might not be getting all our bang for the buck. And then it also talks in about bringing, it's just bright, refreshing ideas. Not just the old no, and stuff like that. Let's try a little something different to do it. And I just don't, I don't think you're gonna find a better candidate. We look high and low. They won't know about where to go. All right, the end.
So at this time, I'd like to make a motion to table the search for a new CEO till after session. When we were in the middle of this, that was a big part of what was discussed, is that we needed continuity and leadership, particularly through the legislative session. So at this time, I would move to table the search for a CEO at least until March of 2026.
We have a motion on the floor. Ms. Gia?
I just have a question contractually, can we do that?
Sure. I believe Mike's contract goes through March of 2026, and you could always extend it. Or like we said at the time, is either party can cancel it on so many days' notice. So it's not an issue. I would say that the bylaws only speak to appointing like a regular or permanent CEO, not an interim or an acting.
And we are aware of, a lot of folks on the board are aware of other candidates who are interested in this position and are very qualified. And that is why I keep pushing forward for a transparent and fair process, because by doing this, we're tabling the ability of a fair competition with other qualified individuals. And I just think that optically and from a risk perspective is terrible for a board to do in a public position and with government funding like this is.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And there's no, the intention is not to not be transparent or not allow other qualified candidates to happen. I just think stability is really important right now, and I don't think that the focus really needs to be on a search for a new CEO now. So I didn't say end the search. The motion could have been, I vote, I make a motion to have him as the CEO. That's not the motion. The motion is just to table it until after session. That gives continuity and security, and most of the people that are in those qualified positions are currently employed and would have to give a significant period of notice if they were to accept a new position. So I'm not trying to stymie or hinder that process or block anybody out. I just think for right now, for the good of the JWB board and for the good of stability and continuity, a pause in the search is what I'm asking for. And that's why I had a date specific, and the date specific was tied to what we had previously talked about and the need for that continuity through the legislative session too, because I think that's important and very critical, considering all of the things that are being considered at Tallahassee and during this legislative session, which could greatly impact JWB. So I think it's really important for us to have somebody in place, and for when the legislatures are talking to that person, that they know that they would at least be there till the end of session. So I agree with you. I think there should be transparency. I think everyone who wants to should have an opportunity to go through the process and be considered for a CEO. We should vet those people thoroughly and then come to a decision. I just think right now, considering the position that we're in and the things that may impact JWB, it's important to have continuity through the end of session, and that's why I picked that date specific. So thank you for your comments, and I hope you understand my position as well.
Ms. McShay?
I do, totally.
1 second, let Ms. McShay go, because she had her mic on. I missed her, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was just going to say, because I haven't really spoken and I'm not on the search committee, but I'll never forget my first meeting, joining the board, coming in and having to vote for an interim CEO, and I agree he's done a phenomenal job, but when I made that vote, it was knowing that we were still going to be opening it up to others, and that, the interim could absolutely apply. And, I'm not saying he hasn't not done a phenomenal job doing what he's doing, but, that will rise to the top when going through different candidates, if that were the case. But I've always been under the mindset that we would always be going through a search committee, whether with a search committee or coming to the board. And I would still like to see that go through.
Yeah, thanks. And I just wanted to respond. I do hear everyone saying, the need for stability and consistency and all of these things in Tallahassee, blah, blah, blah. I just look at it from the other side, I guess, which is I feel like we need to aggressively open this up and get through the search process so that we can just have a permanent CEO in that position sooner rather than later to provide that permanent consistency. Otherwise, the way I see it going is we're going to keep kicking the can. He's going to be interim until the springtime, and then we're going to have the same discussion. Well, you know, look, he's been able to sit in the position and do all these things. Why don't we just make him permanent? And again, we're going to circumvent the whole, you know, that's my fear, that really this is a goal to just continue kicking the can and then not have that open competition and fair search. So I'd rather just do it sooner rather than later for all of those reasons.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
And the motion again, Ms. Mullen made a motion, go ahead here, to table the search for the CEO after session at the end of March 2026.
So we have a motion, we have a second. Any other discussion?
Sorry, when's the contract through for the interim? March, okay, thank you.
So, all in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed?
Oppose.
One opposition? Okay, so motion carries.
I just wanted to say that I would have opposed because I in a lot of ways agree with Ms. Chia that I think that like the search itself, doing it itself is extremely important to me and I think to the taxpayers. But Ms. Mulla is very persuasive and honestly, I mean, I think having a date certain is enough reassurance for me that we can move forward. And quite frankly, I think a little extra time to kind of sort out some of those other, you know, details would be okay.
Okay, Chief Executive's report.
Robbie has a discussion.
Oh, sorry. Robbie, I'm sorry. Ms. Chia, you have another comment?
I do. So the search firms that we have worked with have said the process takes a bit of time, 3 to 9 months potentially. Given that we're now in that 9-month window as of today, I'd like to make a motion that we contract MGT to start the search concurrently, knowing that we're not going to make any changes or bring any candidates before the board until the end of Mike's contract.
Okay, so we have a motion to hire MGT, is that what you're saying, right? Correct? Okay. We have a second? Okay, so no seconds.
Can I ask a clarifying question? So can you explain the contract piece for it first? So it's 9.
It's 10 months.
10 months.
Yes, a 10-month contract could be canceled either way within 30 days. Oh, you're talking about your contract. My contract. Is that what
No,
you're
no,
talking
sorry,
about?
I'm talking about for MGT. So like if we moved forward with voting that in, got them started, they begin kind of starting to vet, like I'm just trying to understand putting that piece off starting that until March, what the delayed time frame for that to be up and running.
So I think that the initial process would be the search firm speaking with the board and creating the job description, because there's been a lot of discussion about that it needs to be updated. The last time it was updated was in like 2014 or something like 2019. Give or take 5 years. No, so 2019. So there's been a lot of discussion that it needs to be updated. Then they'd start talking about, you know, job duties and all of those things, like what is expected, what type of, applicant pool we're looking for. Are we looking for just Pinellas County? Are we looking for, you know, just Florida or what have you? So I do think that initial like portion of contracting with a search firm would be internal as opposed to an external one. There was not necessarily any time frame on that, and I would imagine now that we have dissolved the search committee and all of those decisions need to come to the board, that it would lengthen the process. Sorry, that was a non-answer.
No, I think that makes sense to me.
Answer,
So I'm
sorry.
kind of seeing, so I think what Ms. Chia is saying is kind of starting that would at least start that beginning homework of the board, if you will, to kind of get that job description going and kind of getting that going, and then for when we want to start to move forward come March with everything from
And then
that.
to kind
So-
of anticipate what your bigger question is, I think that the search would take about as long, we can lengthen that front part about as much as we need to. So I don't think that they're gonna say, this part, we spend 3 months on this part, and then we
Sure.
must spend 3 months on this part, and we must spend, so
Okay.
I think it's
And my
flexible.
concern is if we don't put that in place and start it concurrently, then when Mike's contract ends, if we just decide then it's gonna be another 9 or 10 months where we're gonna have to extend his contract more and keep having the same conversation rather than just doing the transparent search.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, so I have a second. All in favor, aye? Can you reread the motion? Just to hire MGT as the search company.
And start the search process, which could take anywhere from 3 to 10 months.
So we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, aye?
I do.
Yeah.
It's
So hire the MGT company immediately.
contract with them for the next 10 months process.
Okay, so all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
No? No? No.
Raise your hand if you're a no, so we can record the vote. So we have 4 no's, okay.
Okay, so that motion fails. All right, moving on to the Chief Executive Officer's report.
May I?
Actually, there's a discussion before that, if you want to go through it.
Yeah, I'd like to just say.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think we ought to hire them. I think that your, Ms. Mallow's comments spoke to me and that we should wait until we have some more consistency in what we have going on. So I would like to still hire them, just not today.
You just voted no, are you voting?
No, I'm
Yeah, that's
saying.
what.
She's just saying not today.
She's just saying that
Okay.
today. She agrees, and I think that's, if I may be recognized, Chair.
So, all right,
I
I'm
think
just
that-
saying, if we're going to wait to keep him in place until
Correct.
March.
And my
then
vote no was not that we never hire a search firm, it just wasn't a 10-month contract because as we're talking.
I think for the clarification, what I needed, and I think what Ms. Nage provided for me was that we're not gonna start the search and opening it up until March, but at least we're moving forward right now with kind of building that job description, working with MGT to understand what we need to be going. So for when we're ready in March to open it up, we're ready to open it up and get ready going instead of starting all of that now in March. So, I hear what the board's saying by, wanting to wait, and I 100% agree with that. But this allows us to begin so that when that time comes, we can move forward.
so we had a motion, a second, and it failed. That's kind of where we're at right now.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so our next up is Robbie, CEO discussion.
You can do this quick. Robbie, you're good on your feet. Go ahead.
I believe in you, Robbie.
I didn't hear you.
You're good on your feet.
Oh, yeah, okay, I'll be really quick, and, so this item is being presented as requested at the September board meeting, and is for board information and discussion. And to provide some background of this, the context relating to the CEO current delegated authority for contract and budget expenditures are to support the board's discussion on whether adjustments are needed to strengthen transparency, oversight, internal controls consistent with recognized public sector financial management practices. This is not related to any compliance issues. Historically, policy considerations are initially vetted by JWB's Finance Committee members, and 3 of those are missing today. A little further background, consistent with JWB policy, currently the CEO has delegated approval authority of $75,000. This delegation applies to contracts, new contracts, budget expenditures, budget allocations, and related types of financial transactions. The authority is presently applied on an annual basis rather than on a per contract basis. One example of that could be a $75,000 contract, which would be the max. For 1 year, $75,000. On 2 years, it's $150,000. On 3 years, it's $225,000. And the board may or may not want to see that level of activity coming through. JWB policy requires contracts between $25,000 and $75,000 to be reported to the board in the financial and investment reports, and that is occurring. The delegation limit was increased from $50,000 to $75,000 post-COVID in November of 2023 as part of a process improvement review to the following: improve processing time of contract so we can immediately go to contract, enhance flexibility so we can move forward nimbly, not having to plan and schedule to come back to the board or come to the board for approval. Streamline processes, that's what that does. It limits board consideration of what was deemed at the time to be smaller contracts, $75,000 or less. Periodic review of delegated financial authority is a key to maintaining, in my opinion, effective internal control environment and ensuring the board's fiduciary oversight and expectations. Such reviews help confirm decision-making authority, and it keeps a clear path to how contracts get approved. Reducing the $75,000 limit, will increase the number of board agenda items. So the agenda, we've had a long agenda today. We've been here a long time. We'll have more items to consider. Year to date in 25, just some perspective. Through July, we've done about 21 of those. Enhanced transparency obviously is of greater oversight for the board and board input. Some considerations. Defer further consideration of this agenda item to the Finance Committee for review and vetting and stuff. Then we come back to the board and we can consider it in detail. Maintain the current authority, continue to at the $75,000 like we've been doing. And this isn't an action item. These are just considerations. Continue the $75,000 authority per contract rather on a cumulative year basis. So each contract, if it's going to be a 5-year contract at $75,000 a year, then we look at that, the total value of that contract is $375,000 versus the $75,000 per year. Also, I think there needs to be reporting on non-competitive procurements. We used to do that some, and after this process improvement, that went away. So next steps, certainly it's up to the board. As mentioned previously, this item is presented at the request of September's board meeting. Should the board wish to revise the delegation of authority, the board may want to defer it to the Finance Committee for that vetting to occur. Otherwise, we can certainly bring it back or do whatever else the board asks for us to do.
Thanks, Robbie. If I can make a recommendation to the board, I think specifically because part of the reason why this was even brought up was brought up by Mr. Unks. He is on the Finance Committee. I think it would be worthwhile to have this go to the Finance Committee, let them vet it through, and come back to the board with their decision or their recommendation on how to move forward. This way you'll have more information, more specifics around it. Robbie can take him through all the details that you might need, and then have the Finance Committee come back with their recommendation on how to move forward. Whatever your choice is the right answer.
Yeah, I would recommend that as well, because historically, this policy is always done through the Finance Committee. And really, they're the ones who we assign that committee to group to look at how things come together with our finances, how money's spent, and how the policies are preset to that. So I would highly recommend as well that the board move this to the Finance Committee and get it vetted out, and we can look at everything you talked about and get it in more detail, so we can make a true decision on do we need to make a change or not.
My question is, what was the allocate, because I know, my understanding is it was moved to 75,000 during
From
COVID or
50,000.
something. What was it before?
50.
50, okay. Thank you. That was my question. And why was the change made to not have non-competes come to the board?
That was part of the process review.
Okay.
The consultant that we hired, that was post-COVID, or in the midst of being post-COVID in 2023. So that was the recommendation that came before the board, and the board approved it in November of 2023.
Okay. I'm okay with the Finance Committee vetting this more, but I'd like to just be able to have more, I guess, historical information or like that comparative to really understand what changed, where are we, and why do we want to go where we want to go.
I can just feel free to ask Robbie whatever questions you might have.
So, we need a motion to move it to the Finance Committee?
We'll just
Right.
Typically, historically, it gets redlined, the finance committee discusses it, then it gets redlined, then they approve the red line, then it comes back to the board.
Right. Perfect. Okay, thank you. All right, Chief Executive Officer report.
Quick question, sorry,
Yes.
real quick question. How do we get something on the discussion items list?
You just need to bring it up and tell the staff, tell Olivia, tell Robbie, tell Karen, whoever you think you want to have something brought up, it then gets put on the discussion.
Okay,
It'll
I can
immediately
do
be put
that
on.
anytime between now and the next.
As long as it's
meeting.
before we put out the formal message that it's coming,
Thank you.
that the board's coming. Okay, I'm gonna try to keep this as short as possible because I know we're now almost at the hour 12. I'd like to make an introduction, and I'm sure she just got a great introduction to what goes on in JWB. Leslie Porter this is her first day at JWB. She is the new Controller Director of Accounting. She's a CPA with years of government accounting experience, so maybe this is not new to her. An announcement will be coming forthcoming, but if you could please welcome with me Leslie. Okay, next thing real quickly is, we were planning to have a Toffler, wait. Melissa, are you with us? You were talking, I didn't want to talk over you.
She was asking what was the position,
Oh,
what is her position?
I'm sorry, her position is she's the new Controller and Director of Accounting. Yeah. I thought I said that, but I'm sorry, maybe I talked too fast. Okay.
You said it, but it's not on the.
Oh, it's not on, yes,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Okay. So we were bringing Toffler in, this is the Futurist Strategic Group. The plan was to bring her to bring them in November for a board presentation, followed by the following day being, so that would be November 20th, they'd come in, followed by a board workshop on the 21st. There's a question about whether or not, because of timing of holidays or the like, and the fact that we have not yet come to you and asked for your availability. So the one question is that good for everybody? The other would be, if it's not, do we move it to the December board meeting, which would be December 18th and Friday the 19th, respectively, to do that? Or do you want to move it to January? Rather than trying to get a vote for this, because we don't have everybody here, I'm going to ask Olivia to poll all the board members and find out what's the most available date for everyone, the dates for everyone, rather than try to do it right now. Is that okay with everybody? Okay,
Yeah,
good. Okay, then let me move on.
Let me just throw a recommendation
Yeah,
out to you
please.
real quick. That 21st is the Friday before the week of Thanksgiving, which a lot of people end up on vacation during that week. Moving it to December is going to be the same vote. It's going to be the Friday before the Christmas week. So again, holiday is going to be play. I know I personally right now cannot be at either one of those dates. They are full days for me because of what we do for holidays. I'm trying to rearrange my schedule to make it available if the rest of the board wants to do so. But if the board does not, if we don't have enough of the board to have a workshop, my recommendation to the board would be moved to January. Thank you.
And one of the things I didn't want to do to save taxpayer dollars, I don't want to bring them in to make a board presentation and then have them fly back in again at another time. So I'd like to try to keep them both in the same time, so they're here once to do that. So you just if you would, Olivia will connect with everyone, we'll get the dates, and then we'll reset with them. Okay? All right, then moving on. As we've talked about before, return to the office is in place. I challenged the leadership to come up with a plan. I said we have to have people in the office 5 days a week. That didn't mean everybody 5 days a week, but that means that anyone walks in this building at any day during any one of the 5 days of normal work week, there will be people here. I commend the leadership team for taking the time and really focusing in on how to put this together and what made sense to meet the board's requirement as well as work-life experience. They've come up with a plan. That plan will go into effect in January. All staff have already been told about this. We're going to have a meeting right after this one at 1 o'clock with the staff to discuss it in more detail, which also will include assignments for space. So everyone will have a desk, and the way it's really structured, there are three organizations, three pieces. One is called, I'll call it C. C is people that are here all the time. Leadership, myself, IT, maintenance, they're here all the time, they're here 5 days a week, that's that C group. Then there's an A group and a B group. A groups will come in Monday through Wednesday. B groups will come in Wednesday through Friday, except for board meetings and other required meetings that will meet, that everybody will be here. So there's some flexibility built in, and it also accounts for if you have to go, if a staff member is out doing audits and visits with our funded providers, that counts as being in the office. So we're getting the whole, I think we're getting an opportunity for everybody to have some flexibility at the same time meeting the demand. So that will go into effect in January 2026. We'll go through this next transition to give staff an opportunity, if they have to make arrangements for childcare or others, they'll have that ability over the next 2 months. Okay? Then let me just go to one last thing. We did have Bosses for Babies here on the 1st of October. Because of what was done by our staff and with Bosses for Babies, now Pinellas County has 51% of all the membership. These are not just, there's not JWB membership, that's of bosses, leaders within the community. 51% of their program is now bosses from Pinellas County. Finally, the October 24th, 11:30 to 1 is our annual Kids First Awards luncheon. That'll be at the Coliseum, which is 535 4th Avenue North, St. Petersburg. I think we're pretty well full of, I think we're pretty sold out again. Lots of people are being there. There's going to be the host committees have been put together, legacies. You've all had an opportunity to buy a table and participate in those. So we really want to thank everyone for taking the time to participate. And if you haven't given your meal selection, please do. And then finally, we have the Kids First Awards that'll be done during that time. The Spence Education recipients will also be honored, and also the winner of the Dillinger-McCabe leadership nominations the secret winner will be announced at that as well. And then finally, at that session, we will actually announce and show everyone there what we call the Kids First, or the Kids Database. Michael Hoveka will be actually having a kiosk in the back. There'll be a video showing just what it is, what it can do, all the opportunities that we may be able to capturing the data. Michael will have a kiosk in the back, and if anybody has any questions and wants to see it, how it operates. Remember, it is not fully completed yet. I know it's not fully completed yet, but it's underway, and there's enough there to show the value that this will create, not only for JWB, but also for our funded providers and others. And that's my report.
Okay, any questions for CEO? All right, anything under informational items anyone wants to bring forward? Okay, Mr. Bartlett, if you'll do our, open agenda, anybody to speak? I pass. Okay, Mr. Bartlett, if you would do our anniversaries?
All righty, September anniversary, Katie Dills, 2 years, Olivia Bell, 2 years, Kelly Roy, 3 years, Helen Yu, 3 years, Heather Davidson, 4 years, Karen Streetman, 6 years, Jamie Cole, 6 years, Desmond Newton, 9 years, Rebecca Albert, 15 years, and Karen Bogus, 20 years.
Thank you, congratulations. Okay, with that, we'll adjourn our meeting. Thank you.